are, episode 31 of the Autonomous Humanity podcast, a blast of the past. Have John Vega, actually my favorite supervisor I've ever worked with, and really more than just a supervisor, really like a big brother, maybe big brother figure, uncle, I was going to say maybe, not so much father figure. I don't want to make you feel old. So, but
I am a father. I got kids that are almost 20 now. Dang.
Yeah, and really quick, Bradley, James, and then Charlie, and
then Benjamin, and then Edward.
Benjamin, Edward, man.
5 boys.
Yeah, dude, crazy. And I know you and Diana were hoping for a girl for number 5, right?
But ended up with a boy too.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Them strong male genes in the Vega line, dude. Yeah.
Hey, man, but I'm just as strict with them, too, though. I promise you. I stay on top of them.
Well, so, I guess giving a little bit of context to how we came to meet one another. Little old Jacob came into Best Buy looking for a job when he was 16 years old.
Heck
yeah. I started out as a cashier, if you remember that.
Correct.
And I wanted to go work with John and the great team back in home theater.
Heck yeah.
After, I think I got through like the first year, the first Black Friday season there.
Heck
and
yeah.
One of the core memories I have from wanting to switch from cashier to home theater is I went home after one of like the holiday days. It might not have even been Black Friday, but I fell asleep on our living room couch. My mom wakes me up in the middle of the night, and apparently I asked her if she had a reward zone card. So,
but I remember you used to get like a crazy amount of credit cards, bro.
Yeah.
You used to kill it. You and
Mikel,
yeah.
But, so, and then he took it to a whole nother level.
Yeah,
but
he was like getting like 30 a day.
Hypothetically speaking, and like I don't want to say he was actually committing fraud, but it was kind of like in a not so, because I was very upfront and honest, like, hey, I can take $10 off your order right now. You have to apply for a Best Buy credit card. Don't even have to use it. It will, but just very, matter of fact. And it's like, oh yeah, I'd like to save $10. And then he would basically like treat it as if it wasn't a credit card, that it wasn't,
It was like a reward. It's like you're going to get points.
Right. And so, ended up getting a lot of reward points off of that.
Yeah.
And then, like really kind of setting a standard. And then here, Mikel comes and it's like, I think he had like almost 200 or something like that in a month.
Yeah, in a month. He knocked it out the park like crazy.
Yeah, and so
I remember that.
Play the rules, not the game, until, maybe not. But
and they were like, I remember I was like, we need to bring Jacob to the back.
Yeah.
I was like, you want to come to the whole theater? What was that girl's name? She was like the super or something. Ebony. She didn't want to let you go.
Yeah. No, Cherie.
Cherie. That is right. Cherie.
Dude, I ran into her like maybe 4 years ago, something like that. We were at one of our like video job sites and in like the Sandy Springs Buckhead area, and just happened to be the office building she worked out of.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, just a small world moment.
Like crazy. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, she was great. She was also very much like a mother figure, and then
she was awesome too.
Yeah, Tony the Tiger, if you remember.
Yeah,
him holding down the
Tony
cashier.
Cox. I still speak to him every once in a while.
Okay,
yeah. He's good peoples.
Very good peoples, and then. I remember, started with a J, the mobile manager that ended up going to Apple.
James Hill.
So, no, I remember James Hill, but Asian guy, it was like, I'll sound so racist if, I throw out a J.
Dude, what was his name?
Yeah. He worked with Corey Patrick a lot, if you remember. But anyway, he was the one that did my interview for going back to home theater, because me being like the tech nerd I am, we were just talking about Huawei and having like the Huawei watch. I used to have the Huawei phone. So it would have been like more sensical or logical, I guess, for me to go into the mobile phone part of Best Buy and work, or the computer part, you know, we're also a computer nerd. But I was like, hey, I don't really know a lot about home theater. So I remember saying I wanted to broaden my horizons. And that was like what stuck in, I forget his name, but it stuck in his mind. You know, it was like, all right, yeah, you know, consider it done.
What's his name? Dude, this is going to kill me if I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
Was it Jew?
Jew, yeah, something.
Jew, right?
Yeah.
It was. Oh, yeah, because no, you didn't stay with us at the apartment, at his apartment when we got snowed in.
No.
Yeah, we stayed at his apartment. It was like 5 or 6 of us, all because I couldn't go anywhere. You know, I live all the way in Marietta, and we're all the way in Alpharetta, so everything was shut down. I remember that.
Yeah, that was Snowmageddon round 2. I remember we had our first Snowmageddon when I was actually in 8th grade, so this would have been, you know, prior to me working at Best Buy, and then I guess this would have been 2016. We had
I remember that one too.
Yeah, that was the one where everyone like just left their cars on the highway here in Metro Atlanta, and I think I was working that day, but I got let go early, so I was able to make it home.
Oh, yeah, because we did close this. We started closing the store, and I think I don't want to say it, and then it's wrong, but somebody was like, no, we'll be okay. So I remember going to Chipotle. I got me a burrito, came back, and then I tried driving off. I was like, I was in an eclipse. I was like, yep, I'm not going anywhere. So that's when I saw everybody gather up. Matt Brady came and picked me up from Chipotle because that's where I left my car. And then we all went to Jew's apartment, and we stayed there, like right down the street.
Do you remember Matt Brady's handshake?
Which one? Oh, my God. Yes, I do. Always. You already knew if he was in a good mood as soon as he did that. Yes, I do remember that. Yep.
Yeah.
Matt Brady.
Yeah.
That's another person. I still, every once in a while, he will contact each other. You know, crazy that you brought him up was Corey Patrick. He reached out not too long ago. We spoke.
Really?
Yeah. And we used to bump heads when we used to work together because we were so competitive.
Yep.
You know, so we'll bump heads because he became a supervisor. Then I became a supervisor after. And so it was a competition. We would always be
he's gonna sell more. He's gonna be the better manager, build a better team.
We would be going hard between all of us. Like that's the reason why that's what made that store pretty cool. Everybody was very competitive.
Well,
you know?
Actually, you know, a father figure that I think maybe even to both of us, George Chister.
Oh yeah,
right?
to this day, man. Yep.
Yeah, and I reached out to you and of course you were already aware of it. You know, by the time
I got told the same day that it happened. Sadly, man, George Chister,
really salt of the earth guy, really cared about his work. I mean, you know, he was like, there's a lot of people that were like, be the best, you know, like in words, but he lived it.
Yeah,
right?
He really did, man. Because George Chister was that guy. If one person that I've met in my life that definitely made an impact on me is definitely George Chister, for sure. Yeah. Like, he bought me a book that I still, to this day, I still have. It's called Execution. And when I started reading that book, like, it took my mindset to a whole different ballgame. I started getting definitely more focused at work, and it went from a home theater lead to front sales lead when I was in the front sales.
Yep.
And then went straight to the back. After that, Matt Brady left, and he went to Bank of America, and I ended up going to home theater after that as a supervisor, and we rocked it, bro. Like, the whole team was like, that team was crazy, bro. Like, I don't know how. It
really was like a dream team. Although, do you remember? I won't won't mention his last name probably because I don't remember it. But Kevin, do you remember the whole ordeal that went on?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and dude, that was always crazy to me that we had reward zone certificates, right? So if you're a common member, you know, purchasing items at Best Buy, you would basically get like credit back.
Yep.
And I was helping a customer who had reward zone certificates that he was going to use for whatever purchase it was. And I look up his account, go to apply his reward zone certificates, not there.
I remember that moment. I remember when they came and grabbed him, dude.
Yeah.
That was crazy. He was actually with a customer.
Yeah.
When the police officers from Alpharetta, because Alpharetta was cool with us. They were
Yeah.
like, we remember even for the holidays, like they would be out there and they were awesome with us, and they really would, man. They would shock people. I mean, they would taste people and stuff. But I remember when that happened. I remember they came and grabbed him. Well, right there in the sales floor, they didn't even ask him, "Hey, come here," or nothing. The customer just looked at like,
And like the most unassuming guy, you think for
Bro,
that.
Yeah, like you would expect like from me, from Chaz, from from Vince. I mean, you would think that from anybody, bro. Like, like anybody that he did not look the part.
Right. And he was like always like kind of to the same degree as George or similar, like took ownership of like the job in home theater. Like the one exception, he hated dusting. I remember that. And I was like, oh, I can do dusting. No problem.
I remember that day.
Yeah. And I literally was helping that customer. And then, I think I was talking to, was it Brent or Brant? What was the
BQ Brent? Brent. We were with Brent.
Yeah, I remember.
It was you, me, and Brent. I remember, and then we went back to the front at AP office, and then we started pulling up the videos, and then we're like,
sure enough, there's Kevin buying some movies.
It was actually from the Sonos, when people were getting $60 or $50 rewards back, and the information that was being inputted was not the same one that the customer was getting.
Well, so I think, the customer was buying Sonos, but then Kevin, he actually redeemed them for Blu-ray movies. Really, like your whole job, your livelihood is worth, 80. And again, that probably wasn't the first time that he had done it, just, the time that he had got caught. But that was like really like a very like.
And he was somebody that used to work for Best Buy, I believe, that they brought back.
Wow.
Yeah, I do recall that. And it was, I was actually just talking to somebody about that not too long ago, like probably about a month ago. But one of the guys in Mississippi, I was like, dude, there was this one time, like, just like you're mentioning, like, and then we're looking up the transaction, and then next thing you know, here comes the cops. They grab them. They're like, come on, let's go. They took them out and walked them right out, and we're like, oh, shit.
Yeah. There was a similar moment with Juan, if you remember.
I was not there anymore.
Okay.
But I did hear about it. I heard it was
that was like, much bigger. Yeah,
it
was like tens of thousands of dollars of iPhones and iPads.
Yeah, I heard it was like 20 grand almost.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
I was like, one, how do you get away with it for that long? And two, it's like, how do you and I don't think he ever had like any real repercussions. I don't think he saw like any jail time and again, I liked him, I got along with him.
He was a great person, but damn, like, but see, you not trying to play the like, but sometimes like if you look at somebody, sometimes you kind of like,
what's under the surface,
yeah, like, and then when you will look at like, Kevin, I don't even think that was his name, bro. I can't remember his name, but you look at him and like, judging a book by its cover, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Like you will look at him and you're like, man, this guy looks clean cut. He's
upstanding guy.
The way he dresses, the way he speaks, the way everything about him.
Kind of like a goody two shoe. Yeah.
And then you look at Juan, he was more, he was out there, would have the, baggy clothes, like, that what's up, man, attitude. So it's kind of like, I would look at him and be like, yeah, you look like you might do some, but then you look at him and he was doing it. Like you said, who knows how much people he didn't do this to before.
Right.
You know? That's crazy.
Now, you also brought up another name that Brian and I would hang out with quite a bit throughout working at Best Buy, Chaz. Have you talked with him?
I actually saw him not too long ago, probably about a year ago. I saw him in Missouri. He lives in Kansas City.
Yeah, I was about to say, he's I thought he moved to like maybe Chicago at one point. And
he did live in Chicago for a little bit. Then he came back, and then he ended up going to Missouri. He found a decent job out there, and man, actually, awesome. I got some jobs when I was out there painting some cases, and I was like, dude, you want to come and help me, man? He's like, yeah, come on. I was like, because he worked with me at Harrison.
Okay. Yep.
So he worked there painting, so he kind of already had an idea of it. Yep. So I'm like, bro, just come and help me get these things done. I'll give you so much per store. I'm like, we were knocking out like 5 or 6 a day. So he, awesome. He was making like $300 just by helping me roll the columns in between the gas pumps, And it's all about network, bro. It's crazy because I met him at Best Buy. You know, I met you at Best Buy, and it's like I know I'm looking at everybody because I was always older than everybody. So now I'm looking at everybody, and I'm like, damn, that's so awesome, man.
They're all growing up.
I know they're growing up, bro. And I'm telling you, dude, like I promise you, man. Like I see what y'all doing, man, and it's amazing, bro. Because like I said, man, this is something that you had in here, and then you met more people that had that in there, and everybody's like, well, can we try it? Like, you know, and then it went on from there, man, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's been definitely a process of trial and error. Let me show you one, you know, of the trial and error moments that we've gone through in our prototyping that I think you'll appreciate. So a lot of our work that we're doing is, as I mentioned previously, to get every household, every business, you know, owning and operating their own drone. And a large part of that is getting people just used to the idea of what a drone can do beyond just taking photos and videos. Because like right now, if you own a drone, and especially if you're making money with it, it's probably through some sort of like photography or videography job, right? And we are talking about it from the perspective of wanting to do like deliveries, but not in the sense that like Amazon or Walmart is already doing them, where, you know, they'll own the fleet of drones, or like Walmart has even partnered with like third-party drone delivery companies, and they'll do like the deliveries on behalf of Walmart to the customer.
Got it.
But to me, what makes the most sense is us as the customer, we just have our drone that at our house or outside of our business, and we send it to the local Walmart, Amazon locker, fast food restaurant. And it's really no different than what like curbside pickup is today. It's just now you're not having to drive to the store.
To go over there.
Right. You just send your drone over there.
And it'll benefit a lot of people, like a lot of people that can't get around, you know,
older people for prescription medication, especially.
Man, that would be awesome. Like, you know, it's stuff that, you know, some people just can't, like in a situation like we were talking about, being snowed in. But, you know, if somebody can get to that store, at least you could get your drone to go do that for you, you know?
Heck, I was up in Charleston. Brian and I were doing a mission with one of our developers with a farming company. They plant sea bean seeds and grow sea beans. It's like a vegan, like superfood, you know. Trash, really. You know, it's no El Pastor or lengua.
Yeah, I know. There ain't no lengua in that.
But we went to go help them prove out the concept that they could use a drone to plant their sea bean seeds. Otherwise, they have to take a boat out to these marsh islands, get out onto the islands, and then like walk the islands, like dispersing the seed by hand. And so we were able to like set up a mission for our drone to go dispense the seeds. Just thinking of like the next step beyond that, they would also like to be able to like, hey, this is like the island that we need to plant the crops on, but have the drone actually find the best spots to not just plant the seeds,
like do the landscaping for them and stuff, like being able to like figure out what spot's gonna be the best to be at, you know.
And so there's that from a farming perspective, but while we're also out there, there's all of these houses that live on some of these islands off the coast that they actually have to take a boat to get back to like the local grocery store or whatever, right? Imagine if those houses just have a drone and maybe they're not getting a full week supply of groceries at a time, but hey, I need to go get like an 18 count of eggs or something like that.
Because there's places that like the closest spot to it is like a massive difference, you know, especially out west. You know?
Well, that becomes a little bit more of a problem, at least with the drones and the way that we're building them. I'm more so looking at it for like these more sort of like suburban, urban environments where, you know, people talk about, well, the battery life is a problem with drones. And for like some of like the use cases, if you're like 20 miles away from the store, you know, one of our drones that we're working on, or that we have now or that we're working on, won't really be the best drone for that sort of job. But, you know, most people, at least in like suburban, urban areas, live within 2 miles or have like 5 stores, or like 5 gas stations, 5 grocery stores or whatever within like a couple miles or you know, maybe a little bit more.
It'll be awesome for like, for example, like for somebody that works from home too.
Like, so I often think about this, and this is right at like a about the furthest range that you would do this sort of mission for, like at least as it currently stands. But I could theoretically send one of our drones here back to my parents' house about like 7 miles away as the crow flies. And let's say I forgot my laptop charger, at the house. Hey, Dad, can you load up my drone with the laptop charger so I'm not having to drive back to the house, right?
Bro, that is actually you just reminded me of something. I was working downtown and I left my keys at the keys to my trailer, and I didn't feel like fighting the traffic. Like, I can only imagine being able. I
have a drone in your car, set it out, and then
because I actually paid Uber like $140 just to get my keys because I didn't feel like fighting the traffic, because it would have took me. I need
2.5 3 hours.
Quick, it was quicker for Uber to get to me than it was for me to actually drive to go pick it up and come back. Because I needed it like
as soon as possible,
the next hour, you know? So I could only, how much time that would save,
Right. And that's like, to me, it's obvious, but right now, unfortunately, as the regulations are being built in the United States, it's making it illegal. Like, unless you own a business and like go through all these waivers and approvals, you have to always operate your drone within visual line of sight, legally speaking, right? But, there's like new guidelines, new regulations coming up that's supposed to make those sort of beyond visual line of sight operations like easier or more accessible, but still no legal pathway. If you just go to Best Buy, say, buy a drone off the shelf, or come to our workshop, buy one of our drones, there's no legal way for you to operate it beyond visual line of sight. So there's no way, even as simple as a mission as this is, if I were to like set my drone out in my parents' front yard, go back inside and literally just have it go fly right across the street to my neighbor's house, if I am not able to see the drone, the entire time, that's illegal. And so it's like, imagine if the automotive industry was regulated in the same way at the early days. It's like, hey, this guy Henry Ford wants to make a car for anyone and everyone. No, we're not going to allow that. You're only going to make cars for government agencies that do public transportation. Or, you know what, we're going to allow big enterprise companies like, taxi companies or Uber sort of ride-sharing companies
back in the days.
Own and operate a vehicle. And that's basically how the drone industry is being regulated right now. But it's because even people in the drone industry, they don't think about drones in the way that I am. Like, each household, each business, owns them, and not just from a delivery perspective, but like your dog gets out of the yard. You want to have it automatically search the neighborhood for your dog, or you want to water your garden, fertilize your yard, help with like household chores, have your kids go play laser tag with it, and it's more of like a household appliance, in that sort of sense. But
especially me, man, I got a lot of kids. And I got a dang Shih Tzu that runs off, and now I got to go hunting for it.
We actually just had my dog Digby run off a little while ago, and luckily he comes back. But this is one of our... We are experiencing technical difficulties. We'll be right back after this short, not commercial break. We're good? All right. So, this is what we call a remote ignition device. Right outside my parents' house.
Don't go too high.
It's like 2019, maybe.
Whoa, look at that torch.
Yeah, so hypothetically speaking, built a flamethrower for Develop Air, and that came from one of the students working with us. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
I'm so sorry. Hello? Yes, sir. We're finishing up the ceiling, and we're about to head out.
How long do you think you'll be before you're gone?
Probably another 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. Then there's no reason for me to go up there, because it'd take me about an hour to get there.
Oh yeah, no. We're about to get out. Like, we're literally just pretty much just cleaning up the plastic from the floors and seeing if there's literally anything that we might need to clean up or anything.
Okay. Only thing is, you may need to take that trash with you. I don't have a dumpster anymore.
That's fine. It's small. It's literally one bag, if that.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, man. Well, thanks again. Thanks for knocking all that out. I will send an email to my office to say all the paint items are done.
Yes, sir. If you got, if anything at all, if anything pops up or anything, I got you either way.
Awesome. Appreciate it, man.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Andrew. Have a great day and Merry Christmas, sir.
Yes, sir. You too.
All right. Bye-bye. Sorry.
No worries. And we're back.
Live and direct.
Yeah, so we were just talking about the hypothetical flamethrower that Keegan, one of the students working with us at the time, I asked all of our team, what's something that you have not seen take flight on a drone, or something that people don't commonly think about when they think of what a drone can do? And he was like, what about a flamethrower? Kind of jokingly, you know? I was like, put together what's called a bill of materials, or a BOM. And so basically just a spreadsheet with like all the components that would go into it.
Yep.
And it was like $100 or maybe $150. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And,
Heck yeah, that's pretty badass. Yeah, I actually that's pretty cool.
yeah, and like we literally pressurized it, again, all hypothetically speaking, because the FAA, they look at flamethrowers as dangerous weapons when attached to a drone, but the ATF, who regulates explosives, alcohol, tobacco, weapons, firearms, they don't consider flamethrowers as weapons. So we can legally make and sell a flamethrower in 48 of the 50 states with no restrictions, at least last I looked, like a couple years ago. Maryland, I don't think you can sell them at all. And then I think California, they have to be limited to like shooting like 10 feet or something like
Damn.
that.
A flamethrower with 10 feet, hey.
Enough. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So it's funny, like we can legally make and sell a drone, we can legally make and sell a flamethrower, we just can't like put them together. And so even like if we were to publicly post that video, we would be opening ourselves to a potential lawsuit. Again, if that wasn't AI generated and all just hypothetical,
AI technology.
Dude, isn't AI great? It looks
will make
exactly like Develop Air with a flamethrower attached to it.
Yeah, hey. But AI is definitely doing a lot of great things nowadays.
Yeah. We would like to actually be able to sell like a flamethrower attachment. So like, again, if we sell the flamethrower separately, then the drone, you could potentially even still buy it as part of the same order. It's just like,
what you
it's
do
on
with your own stuff.
Right.
It's your, hey.
Right. But even to just make a compelling marketing video, the FAA could fine us up to $25,000 for us like showing both in use together.
Oh, damn.
So it's like, I think we could make that $25,000 back.
Oh, heck yeah.
Again, don't want to really, it's really a little outside of what makes sense for us to do right now, setting $25,000 aside for the marketing budget, especially with our current like hypothetical flamethrower.
Will it cost them to be able to like put a pause on anything that you might want to construct in the future if you were to get a fine for something like that?
Well, yeah, it's the money that would then be gone for paying the fine.
Well,
yeah, but I mean,
John
like,
was even like, could they come like seize our operations,
or pause on anything, like you being able to create this because your end game is really to.
Yeah, I mean, technically speaking, sure, but like the problem that the FAA has is there's like really no enforcement arm. So they can like create all these fines and regulations, but there's hundreds of thousands of people already in the United States that aren't following the laws.
Oh yeah,
right? And it's like, what, they're going to start putting hundreds of thousands of people in jail, let alone if like we just continue to make the technology easier and easier to use. They're either going to have to adapt or literally figure out a way to start putting millions of people in jail.
Heck yeah.
And so,
like with marijuana, I mean, look at it. Like they just like Trump just signed off on making it like a less charge or something like that.
I don't know about that because I think there was something that like all the Delta 8 and like those kind of marijuana
the synthetic
lights
ones, yeah.
Well, I don't even know how much it's like synthetic or whatever, but like all of those I think got banned. But that might have even just been Georgia wide. I don't know if Brian is familiar with any of that legislation. I heard something about that on a podcast, and I forget if it was federal or not, but.
All the synthetic stuff, they'll just change it slightly and it'll be back on.
Yeah, it's always been like that.
It's
better just getting the flour, man. Just get the right stuff, the real stuff.
There's this place here in Forsyth County called Hotbox that is like right down the road from my parents' house, and I don't know if they still are, but at one point they had a sign that we deliver flour. And it's like, wait, in Forsyth County? Like, weed isn't
it's not legal here in the GA period unless it's like medically approved, right?
And even then, it's like you got to be like dying of cancer tomorrow, and
Yeah.
then you can get like an oil
pen or
tincture.
something like that.
Yeah, and then there's no legal way to buy it, so you're allowed to have it here in Georgia, but there's like no legal way to actually get it. And so yeah, I think Georgia's still a little bit behind. I know Atlanta, they've decriminalized it, And actually, hypothetically speaking, I almost got busted with a vape pen here on the way to the office like last week. I cut some guy off, trying to not miss the exit, and cop, was right there next to me pretty much. And
hey, where you going, boy?
Yeah. Where are you going? Going to the office. Why are you in such a hurry? I was like, not a good excuse. I just don't want to miss the exit, have to drive back around, takes my ID, goes back to the car. It's like, fuck, I can't really afford a ticket,
Hell no.
Really the insurance premium,
What I'm so grateful that my insurance is finally coming down. I went from like $2,000 a month, dude. I promise you.
A month?
Because
wow.
I got my little painting business, and I let one of my guys drive a truck with the trailer, and it was just easy for me to make a claim because he wrecked it, So I didn't think much about it. Well, Dad made my insurance go up, and then my nephew, I literally bought a truck from him today. Tomorrow he drives it to the job site, right? And on the way to the job site, he falls asleep on the steering wheel in Boston. Hits a brand new 2019 I'm lying. 2021 Jeep, a nice little Jeep, a Grand Cherokee or something like that. Hits it on the side, messes it all up, and I'm like, holy smokes, dude! You couldn't do this when it was under your name. Like, why you wait until now? But yeah, and Dad raised up my insurance crazy. I'm so grateful that it's coming back down, because that was crazy.
Well, all I hear is it could be worse.
It could have, but thank God the lady had literally had 2 weeks with the car when she had just bought it.
I think mine is like down to $1,300, or it might even be like $1,100-1,200 every 6 months, which
that's not bad.
Yeah,
that's not bad. That's under you, right?
It's still actually technically under my dad's plan, but it is like my name.
Okay, okay. It's still not bad though.
Yeah.
Like me, I just added my kids, my insurance.
Oh man.
My insurance went, but I like I said, hey, credit.
Worse, it's all boys.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I got one. I bought James a Honda Civic, the slowest car that I could think of.
I used to so. That was the first car my brother and I started driving. It was a 2008 5-speed manual Honda Civic, and I would make the joke, it goes from 0 to 60 in 5 tries.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So we were heading to Slammed Enough over there in Gatlinburg, and all the cars are passing. His car runs great, bro. Like it was running good. Like I bought him that car specifically because it was slow.
Right. Reliable,
and it was slow. Yeah. It was really, I could literally take off and run faster at my size than the car would by the time it took off. I was already. But he decides that he wants to try to keep up with like this brand new Lexus, and this brand new BMW that are slammed and they got lights glowing underneath. As soon as he tries to keep up with them, the cars went phew, and he went straight to the side of the road. Here I go behind him. I pull up behind him, and I'm like, what happened? He's like, yeah, the car died. And he did. The piston came out the bottom.
Lovely. Yeah.
Yep.
You doing still like work? I know back in the day you would be a big defender backer of Oldsmobile and the stainless steel
cars.
Cars.
I still love them.
Yeah.
I still do. I'm still working on a 72 Cutlass right now.
Okay, yeah.
It's something that I've been working on for a little bit, and I'm trying to get it running. At one point, I will.
Yeah, that's all well beyond me. I know Gerardo, who you may have met, one of our business partners.
Oh, yeah.
Does all of his work on his cars,
Yeah.
It's like more power to you, but it's a commitment, one, but two, it's a good skill to have.
Yeah, let me put it like this, so you can find the perfect emotion. When I have the opportunity to actually work on the car and I get somewhere with it, I feel like when you finally get one of these bad boys running right.
Yes.
Like when
yes.
all of y'all can make it work together, you know, like that's how I feel when I get those accomplishments. Because, you know, I honestly wish I could create something like this, you know, but like
You could.
I probably could if I really tried.
Yeah.
I could, you know, but it would take me longer to get there, you know. But in my times, like the only thing when I was growing up, I'm almost 40, bro. I turned 40 this year coming up.
Well,
In
you didn't have
2026.
YouTube in middle school growing up? Like
Heck no, I don't remember that. I don't know. We didn't get YouTube till like what, 2000?
2006 is like when it first came out. And even
Yeah.
like me as an early adopter, I was like one of the only kids in like middle school that was like actually using YouTube on like pretty much a day-to-day basis.
That Bradley was like that too. But he was already a little bit, you know,
Yeah.
like
YouTube,
2011 was when he was already on it. So
That was like prime YouTube.
yeah, that's when YouTube was already like everybody. I mean, hell, I used to use YouTube for everything.
I remember like the way I used to describe YouTube back at that time is like 2011, 2012 even. You would know everyone that had 1 million subscribers.
Oh, yeah.
And now there's like people with tens of millions of subscribers never even heard of. It's like,
Yep.
yeah. And
It's
blown
different
up.
now.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ball game, you know. And whoever got on it at that point and understood it, they rocked
Did
it.
well, yeah.
You know, like because I used to watch this guy. I can't remember, William, I think is his name. That he would post like in the corner of his room.
Ray William Johnson.
Yeah, said he would have all the
Equals
posters.
3.
You know, he would have all these posters, but now he does stories or something like that.
Yeah.
Back in the day, he was doing what TMZ would do,
What Rob Deerdick with ridiculousness ended up doing.
yeah, like he would do stuff like that in
Yeah.
his time. Like
Yeah.
this is back like 2007, dude. Like this is honestly
Yeah.
when YouTube was first coming up.
He was he was the first like top guy on YouTube,
Yep.
like the number one subscribe guy, and he made some good music as well. I
Yep.
don't
Yeah,
know.
he did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I remember that too when he used to
Tickle
put it up.
bitties.
Yeah, he made some funny songs.
Yeah.
He was and it's crazy because I showed it to my youngest sons the other day. I was like, man, it's crazy. I was like, pull him up, and we pulled him up, and we're like, he has like this huge amount of people that follow him, and I'm like, that's crazy because when I used to watch, there was probably like 180 people watching him.
Yeah.
I was like the massive difference. I hope he did something with it, you know, like I really do, because some people, you know, they get the money and spend it at the same time.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, it's interesting to see a lot of these, internet personalities that, and not even just internet personalities, but it's kind of like the new age, like story that you hear about the athletes or like the pop stars or rock stars. You know, they make tens of millions, even hundreds of millions of dollars, and then by the
Broken
time
like
they get
15 years, gone.
and like houses being foreclosed, and
That's now the only fangirl story.
Dang.
Yeah,
That is just-
what a world we live in now with OnlyFans. Like you see in like the Sophie Rain chick, you know, making even just comparing herself to like LeBron, you know, and it's like
That's crazy. This like
who's paying for this shit?
Yeah, like I understand you might be making money on this stuff, but
At what
how
cost?
long? You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like how long? Like I heard that this. I was reading something the other day of this chick that used to make like movies, shows.
Riley Reid.
Riley Reid.
And then Lena Rhodes. I know she's also been like, oh my God, I have a daughter. I don't want her to see my content.
Like I mean, what did you expect? Like
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like I understand at that point you were going through something and you were you know.
I was
this
broke and I want money.
Yeah, they wanted to make money and stuff, but like there's also a lot of other people that has been broke and have to do things, you know, like
Right.
But like you said, at what cost? Like, you know, like you don't have to do that to get money. You know, like some people became content creators where they made funny memes, you know, and
Right.
I'm sure they make just as much money, if anything, maybe more. Now those people that used to make funny memes aren't in movies. Like,
Right.
you know, I see them in movies. What's his name?
Logan Paul. Yeah. I mean,
Logan Paul went
yeah.
from my kids
Vines,
used to
yeah.
watch him on Vines and making that rap song. What was his first rap?
Handlebars. Was it Handlebars?
No, there's
okay.
another one. Oh my goodness, I gotta remember this
Logan
song.
Paul,
Logan Paul's first song. That he's a rapper and it was hilarious. It was the name of his
Hero.
no
2016 Hero. The
No,
Fall of
wait.
Jake Paul.
no.
Help Me Help You.
I'll pull it up right now. Hold
And Why Don't We?
on. Logan Paul.
Can I get you another water?
Yeah, that's fine. Oh, can I use the restroom real quick?
Yeah.
Y'all got a restroom? Was it Jake Paul? I think it was Jake Paul.
Okay.
Jake Paul first rap song.
Yeah, now he's doing all like the boxing.
They both are.
Yeah.
It's every day, bro.
It's
that
every
song.
day.
Oh my God, my kids used to annoy the shit out of me with that song.
I don't know
It's
if I've
every
even
day,
heard that
bro.
one.
Every day
I don't know how
bro,
the
with
men's
that
bathroom is, but you can use either one.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is Logan Paul was on Disney Channel before he was on YouTube.
Was he?
Yes.
I know he was on like Vine. I thought that's where he like first started.
No, it's every day, bro, with that Disney Channel flow. He was Disney.
Now y'all need to put y'all logo right there.
All right. If we stopped before then, I'm still recording.
Okay.
But you're gonna have to come back
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, it's every day, bro. Yeah.
Every day, bro.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were just talking. It's Jake Paul, not Logan Paul. That came out with a rap song called "It's Every Day, Bro." And
It's every day, bro. Oh my goodness, my kid used to play that song all the freaking time. That song was crazy annoying at that point because he played it so much, you know.
Now, let's see. Jake Paul, what does he have coming up? I think he actually has like a fight tomorrow, doesn't he?
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
He has a fight tomorrow and he's
Oh
gonna.
yeah, Anthony Joshua. You know, my dad was making a comment because my brother's name is Josh. It's like Jake is fighting Josh.
Finally
Yeah.
on live.
Yeah.
Man, how is your brother now?
Doing good. Actually, my parents are actually going out to see him tomorrow. So he lives in Fort Smith, Arkansas. And
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa. Have you been out there?
Yeah, I actually went out there October.
Have you been to the downtown area?
No, I don't think so.
Check it out at night.
Okay.
It's actually beautiful.
Really? Fort Smith in particular?
Fort Smith.
Okay, wow.
Arkansas. The downtown area is very, very, very beautiful. Like a movie scene.
He loves it. I mean, he was in like the northwest corner of Arkansas, like where Walmart is,
Yep.
like Bentonville, Fayetteville, and that's a nice little like picturesque sort of areas. Like, really, this exists in Arkansas of all places.
Yeah.
And it really is a beautiful place. I still think like this. Especially North Fulton, South Forsyth area is probably the best place in the world. Like, again, I'm biased, but like there's no real problems to be had here. And like, if you were to take I like to say, if you were to take every quality of life metric that you could possibly think of to like list down on a sheet of paper, this area probably isn't number 1 in any of those areas, but it probably ranks top 5, top 10, top 25, like literally compared to everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so, I don't know. Fort Smith was nice and all, but I was like, it's no Forsyth County.
Oh, yeah,
Alpharetta.
definitely not, because you got so much more stuff out here. But, like, in a situation, I don't know what he does, or why he picked out there, but it's quiet.
Yeah, so he likes that.
It's quiet.
He's doing work as like a food scientist, like food research scientist.
Oh, okay, that's sweet.
Yeah, he's working at a pepper company, and so he'll develop like different sauces and spices recipes, and then like another company like, hey,
Sure he ain't Mexican?
I guess by heart,
Yeah, I see that. Making chile.
Yeah.
He's making salsa.
Well, he also, I don't think he's going to do this personally anymore, but like when he was still living in Fayetteville, and he like still brought him over to Fort Smith, but had like these giant like barrel drums full of like chili pepper, like dried chili peppers, to like make his own like spices and rubs and all that. But I think he's pretty much like, hey, I do enough of this at work, I don't
want to do this at home no more. Heck, that's how
yeah.
it is for me. When I get home, I don't want to paint.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do this. Like, I see the wall, I'm like, God dang it, I got to paint this wall today.
It could use it, but
we'll wait another week.
Yeah.
I'll get it next time when I come back. It always becomes that.
Yeah, that's it. Like my dad with programming, or I mean now he's more on the management and has been for some time.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when your pops came up with the Pokemon before Pokemon came up with Pokemon.
Dude, yeah, we were having that conversation. Yeah, pre-Pokemon Go.
Your pops came up with that idea before Pokemon did.
Well, let's not give him all the credit now. It was a team conversation,
yeah.
But yeah, he could have actually built it where Brian and I were just talking about it, right?
Oh, man, what?
Yeah, and it was literally like, hey, imagine if like we just turned like Google Maps or the real world like via a platform like Google Maps into the Pokemon world, right? And you could actually walk around and catch Pokemon, battle,
yeah.
And then it's like, before they even announced Pokemon Go, they had like some April Fool sort of announcement. I think also like 2016, April 1st of like 2016. Hey, now you can go catch them all, and they had like the little icons of the Pokemon characters like spread out around the world, and it was a very very, very rudimentary version of what Pokemon Go ended up coming. What was that? 2018 maybe? Does that sound roughly about right?
I thought it was before that, a little bit before that.
You might be right.
I think it was like 2015,
yeah,
2014.
You might be right. Yeah,
because that's around the time my fourth baby was born, and it was around when Pokemon Go was a thing. I remember that. I remember y'all talking about it.
Dude, oh yeah, it was definitely because I was still working at Best Buy at the time. We had a Pokemon gym at the Best Buy, and I remember that becoming a problem. Not really so much with me, but it was like it was like an announcement that had to be made. Hey, you're working, you're not playing Pokemon.
Yeah, I remember that too. Yo.
Yeah.
Even I was walking around like.
Dude, my mom
I would have to drive my kids to certain places so they could try to get one of the Pokemons, and one of them was like at a cemetery.
Yep.
I was like, yo, this is crazy.
Dude, it was really well thought out with a lot of it too. Unfortunately, it in my eyes didn't roll out quick enough for to keep my interest, and I also kind of killed it for myself, kind of jailbreaking the iPad and hacking the game, if you will. But I remember one time I was either walking around my neighborhood or riding around my neighborhood, maybe on an electric skateboard or something like that I had at the time. And there, the game mechanics were thought out to the point, if you're going downhill at a certain speed with the wind blowing in a certain direction, it would spawn an electric type Pokemon.
Yeah, that was very true, because I'm telling you, when we went to the cemetery one,
Pokemon.
Yeah, it was a ghost Pokemon, and I was like, man, this is crazy. And I forgot who I was talking to about this, and I'm telling you, I brought up your pop on this because to me, I remember we talked about it. And then two 2 months later, a year later, I remember it came up, and I was like, yo, did your dad do this?
I think you even did that via Facebook as well. We could probably go back and
I did. I shared it. I tagged your dad, and I was like, what the fuck is this? This was your idea.
Did you collect that check?
Yeah, I was like,
you get that
this
Nintendo money?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Man, those were times, man. I remember, man. It's crazy when you get to thinking about it. It's awesome too, because it's like somebody else in the world is thinking about it, but sometimes some people might look at them like, they'll brush it off like, he's dumb. He's dumb. And then sometimes somebody will be like, oh, that's a smart idea, man. Let's do something with it, This is a perfect example. I know. I keep bringing it up, and you know me, man. I don't kiss ass. You know me very well. And
that was always my specialty.
I tell my kids, I'm like, I really, really, really do, and I'm like, and this is one of the reasons why I do help my kids.
Yep.
Because it's not that my parents wouldn't have wanted me to learn some stuff like this. We just financially couldn't do that kind of stuff.
Right.
So when I see you do this, and I see how far y'all have taken it as a group, as a team, but as a team that listened to somebody and they said,
all right, this makes sense.
I think we could do it. And there's a lot of people that, I said, I promise you, I've had people where I come up with some things, and when I used to work at a different company, and then I'll say something, I'll be like, man, it's dumb. what he's doing. A week later, he brings it up, and he's like, I'm like, dude, I literally said that last week, and then they'll be like, no, you didn't. He came up with that. Okay, that's fine. I don't care. I don't care about the credit, but that was what I had was a great idea. Why y'all made it seem like it was dumb,
That's where I've like really gotten to, because a lot of people I find, and I was amongst them, starting out, like I don't want to share my idea or ideas with anyone because then, they'll take it and run off with it. But I've gotten more and more, over time, and I really got over this almost entirely, within like the first couple years. But it's like if someone can like come make drones as easy to use and, at scale in the way that I have in mind, then have at it, because it's a labor of love, right? Like good luck. And again, as we've been talking about, it's not just a technological problem, like making the drones, producing them at scale easy enough for everyone to use and want to use, but it's also like legally like making the regulations support using drones in this way. So we're not making a criminal out of everyone, right? And to me, like that's where I feel like I can do my best work is evangelizing drones. I like to say I'm like the Lorax of drones. I speak for the drones, right? And it's like, so if like someone could come along, in the United States, because China's already like a decade ahead of the drone industry. It's like if we don't become the at least at parity with them as far as like making easy to use, like reliable, high quality drones at scale, then we're not going to be the world superpower in another 10, 20 years. And I don't want to see what that world looks like.
No,
right?
Me neither. I would not want to see that either, because like, the development of being able to come up with this and making it happen and being user friendly for anybody, and like we were talking about, like from an older person to a young person, like the
Everyone
benefits that comes behind it is amazing,
And that's actually part of our problem is like, oh, well, who are you making these drones for?
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're making them for everybody, you're making them for nobody. And it's like, well, in our current state, we're making drones for developers, kind of like the early days of the computer industry. Like if you went and bought like an Apple I or even like an Apple II computer, it wasn't like, what are you going to be able to do with it right out of the box? Later on, that became the case, but it was like, what are you going to develop it? What sort of software applications are you going to make for it? What sort of devices are you going to make for it that you can plug into it, right? And that's where we're at in the drone industry, right? And actually, we prove a lot of that out with, this is one of the attachments that a high school and actually a couple of high school students working with us created a spotlight. So you attach it to the bottom of one of our drones, tilt it up and down, as well as like turn the lights on and off, adjust the brightness. You can tilt
the light up and down electrically from the remote?
Yeah, in flight, or even just from like our computer software. So you don't even have to use a remote whatsoever, because, one of the pushbacks that I've also received from evangelizing drones in the way that I do, like it's not just going to be for every household, but like every roofing company, for example, will use a drone to like create real-time reports of like, where's all the damage on the roof, what's all the measurements, of each portion of the roof. And that can be done like real time if your drone's connected to the internet. And it's just like made without a controller to operate it, because especially something like this with all the dials, flips, and switch, no roofer is ever going to want to use anything like that, like, right?
Another thing, like for example, I do painting, right? So I wouldn't want to put I don't know how much that controller costs,
$100,
but let's say
there's like $700 controllers.
I wouldn't want to buy a controller where I'm going to put paint all over it,
Right.
But that right there, if you can make those lights, make it look like, for example, I do a lot of work like for Home Depots, and most of the jobs are at night.
Yep.
All right. And some of the projects that I have to go do, I do need a light, right? Sometimes I can't bring my truck in that area to be able to paint this wall behind Home Depot. And because it's, grass or whatever the heck is in the way.
Yep.
So with that and be able to make it look like very clear.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
And
you got me there.
This could also be combined with a tether system. So instead of having a limit of a battery like this, where you might get a half-hour flight time with one of our drones, you could replace it with a power module, and then there's like a spool system on the ground with a power cord that can provide continuous power to the drone
Oh,
for
that's pretty cool.
hours and hours on end, as long as the ground unit is plugged into a standard like 110, 120 volt outlet, or you could even use a generator.
That's
as
pretty
we've
cool.
done.
Heck yeah.
And so, yeah, you basically have unlimited flight time, but it's all within like the form factor of almost like a mobile tower, you know?
Yes, sir.
And
That's
so,
pretty cool. Because like the projects that I do sometimes, bro, they don't take me but like 20 minutes to do.
right.
So,
So even without the tether.
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Like, because there's honestly, they'll send me to go paint where somebody graffitied on the wall, and they literally just need from that joint to that joint to get covered up. So like I said, there's areas where you don't have lighting in that area. So having one like that with a good light on it,
yeah.
oh my goodness. That's, man, take my money.
We actually, the first time I went to, and it was a slightly older version of this, was showing off to one of my dad's friends that was over at the house, and I was using, we didn't have our own software to fly our drone and then like control the spotlight at the time. So let me pull up our drone control app, and then I could select one of the different attachments that we have. So this is the spotlight, and then if I were to plug it in to develop air, we have it. So you have to select what ports that you plugged in each of these connectors to. That's a lot easier than how it has been to like connect a payload like this to a drone. Before, you would have to basically do scripting, and you would have to be like super technically savvy to be able to get this to work on one
Or
of our
get
drones.
like something with like Bluetooth, and even then you will have a lot of lag.
Well, the Bluetooth, that could also cause interference with other like. That could cause interference with like the GPS on the drone, and so really you just want this as simple as possible, and then there's the radio built inside the drone that can like take all the commands that you're sending to this and like just
that's sweet.
pass them along. But yeah, let's see if I can work this out. Cool. So if I go back to like the controls here, now if I turn it on, I can adjust the brightness with one slider, and then this slider just tilts it up and down, or I can like hold down the tilt up button or like hold down the tilt down button.
That's pretty cool.
So it's like all of like controlling these sorts of payloads have been possible, but let me show. This is a software program called Mission Planner, and let's see. I'm gonna
do on the drones, like I remember at some point you needed to have like flying hours.
So legally speaking, no, you don't like, there's no test or anything that requires you to like show competency in flying the drone.
Okay.
Like if you want to buy one and use one like for business, you have to pay like $150 for a test. It's a 40 question multiple choice. Actually might be 60 in the
Might be just like common sense questions, like you're not gonna do crazy stuff.
A lot of it is that, but then there are some like for if you're going to get your private pilot license, there's quite a bit of overlap for that as well. Like being able to read aviation charts and there's different sections of like this part of the map that are labeled like 1, 2, 3, 4. What airport is within section 4? And you just have to be able to like, all right, see section 4, and then you might also like, what's the radio code if you need to contact the air traffic control tower?
Gotcha.
So there's a few bits of information like that. Aviation weather you have to know, but it kind of depends test by test. You might get lucky and only have like 2 or 5 of those questions, on your test of like the 40 or 60. But some people might have like 10 or 15 of those questions. So you have to like be
ready for everything.
Right, to some degree. But I would always say, like, if you go and take practice tests, which literally pull the exact same questions from the actual test, and if you like do 4 or 5 of those and getting like an 80 or above, maybe factor that you might drop 10 points, but all you need is a 70. So if you're getting like 85 consistently, go take the test and you'll be fine.
Heck yeah.
So this is like the software, kind of like what I was showing you on my phone earlier, but this is even less user friendly, but it's a little bit more capable. So like going back now a couple years, we put on the world's largest claw machine game. We created like a claw machine attachment for our drone. And so using like an Xbox controller to fly the drone, you could also lower the claw down to like pick up an object and then like press the R1 button and then it would like raise it back up using a winch, right?
That's
like
crazy.
Yeah. And so we had to use this software to be able to set all that up. But you can see like maybe these numbers like from 5 to 12, and then that actually like scrolls down to 16 because there's basically the 4 motors use ports 1 through 4. And so that's why it actually starts at 5. You don't want to accidentally send a signal to the motor.
The motor, you'll throw it off.
Yeah, and potentially like bring it crashing down. And so if I wanted to like control the spotlight, I would say, all right, I plugged in this connection for the lights to turn it on and off to port number 5, and then this one to
like
port
5
number
through 9.
6.
Yep.
And then I would then have to set like the minimum and max value. So maybe the minimum value to tilt it all the way is like 800, and then this value is like 1600 or whatever. It's like no one wants to remember numbers. Like I plugged in this to servo port number 5, and like for it to tilt all the way back, I need to set it to 800, and for it to go all the way forward, I need 6. I just want a tilt up button and a tilt down button, right?
Especially if you want it to be user friendly and you want to put it in everybody's house.
Right. So that's it's not like we're even inventing the drone. We're not inventing spotlights for drones. We're just inventing new ways for drones to be used in more of a user friendly fashion, I guess. So, and that's again kind of like what was so special about Apple in the early days as well. It's like no one thought personal computers like made sense, right? The big 1,000-pound gorilla at the time, IBM. They're like, oh yeah, that's cute, and then all of a sudden they start having massive success. And it's like, maybe there's something to that. And I think we're in a very similar spot. It's like, why would I want a drone? And we have payload that you can attach to our drone to control it over the internet. So you have a SIM card for your drone just like you would your smartphone. And so
that's
now
pretty cool.
You could be 1,000 miles away and flying your drone as if you're like just right there next to it, either with a controller, no controller, whatever the case may be, right? And
I can imagine that. Like I can imagine me being in Mississippi and then being like,
I need to check out one of the sites here back in Atlanta.
What's going on? Or even if it's just my house.
Right.
Just my house. Like, I understand I got cameras in my house, but, I get a call. Hey, a tree fell down. A limb fell down.
Yep.
Let me check. It's all right, babe. Nothing on the house.
Yep.
Like, we're good right now, something like that.
Yeah, you're out and about. And, like, have you ever heard of the drone in a box systems? So a lot of law enforcement agencies are very big, like telecom companies are starting to adopt these drone in a box systems. So they're right now about $100,000 all said and done, and maybe even a little bit more depending on how high end you go. But it's basically a home for your drone to live in, and it's like outside. Let's say, imagine this from like a household perspective. You would have like in your backyard this like drone port essentially that has like a door that opens up on the top.
That'd be pretty cool.
Right? And the drone automatically launches up and like it's connected to your home Wi-Fi network while it's there. But the moment it gets out of range of your home Wi-Fi network, now it's on its data plan just like your phone would be, right? And so
I just had a vision. I just visioned having this set up with like, let's say, with whoever you order with, right? Like, let's say, for example, you have it set up with Walgreens.
Okay, yeah.
Let's say with Walgreens. And it already knows that you made your prescription, and as soon as Walgreens puts prescription ready for pickup, like the drone knows.
Yes. Yes.
Dude, that is, and Walgreens
then
from my house is right around the corner.
And then it's like, all right, the drone is now en route. And so it can, one, let you know, hey, I'm about to land if you wanted to like just check into the video feed, make sure it's all right. But I think that's going to be worked out. You won't even have to do that. You'll just get a notification. Your drone landed at Walgreens. And, about a minute out from it landing at Walgreens is getting a notification. John Vega's drone is about to land. And I think we'll even start seeing it instead of a person coming out to like the curbside pickup spot to load up your drone. They'll just have a robot, that automatically picks the order, brings it out, loads it in your drone, and then your drone automatically comes back.
Because I can't remember what city I was in, But I think it was in Atlanta. I was no. It was in Miami. I was at Whopper Bar, the Burger King Whopper Bar, and I was with my son Charlie, and I look outside, and here goes a robot, DoorDash robot.
Yep.
So that's what just came to mind. Like I can imagine, like they automatically. There has to be something that probably tells them like, hey, this is John Vega's order that I'm picking up. It opens, puts it in there, and
I mean, it's really just like fast food. Like,
dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, right. Like you see like people behind the counter looking up at the screen, whether it's a order that just came through the drive-through or like the cashiers, inside the building. Same thing. The order just comes, populates, on that same screen. And I think it's just. A lot of people don't realize that's possible here in the United States, right?
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I think it would be incredible. Like, something like that will be, man, if
it's going to happen.
You got to make it happen.
Yeah. And to me, it's just like, we're still in the pre-Model T moment. If you're to like look at where we're at, not just as a company, but as a drone industry here in the United States, where if you look at like the Model T, even like when that came out, it was delivery specific businesses that were buying the Model Ts, and then they would operate deliveries on behalf of many retail stores, right? So, hey, we're going to go pick up all the items from these 5 stores and then deliver the items to their customers,
yes,
right?
Sir.
And then retail stores are like, hey, we can just buy our own Model T and then offer deliveries directly to our customers. I think that's already starting to happen with drone deliveries. But the next step is, hey, now the customer, they can just buy their own Model T, and instead of waiting for whenever the store is going to get around to me, I can just go on demand and pick up my own order. And what's better than that? Having to leave your house yourself, send the drone out in your place, right?
I'm telling you, because I'm thinking about it right now. Like, for example, let's say I got to go pick up the kids, but I also need to go get lunch.
Yes, exactly.
My drone goes and gets my lunch.
Yep.
By the time I come back with the kids,
lunch
my drone is right there.
Yeah.
Like, hey.
To me, man. Like, my mom works a couple miles down the road, and I actually wrote our congressman, like, right now it's illegal. If I wanted to share my mom lunch, I'd be made a criminal in the way that I want to do it.
Yeah.
And Brian doesn't like when I bring this up because, again, it makes people feel uneasy, but we need to have these sort of tough conversations. Like, cars are the biggest killers of people, globally, and I think even in the United States. But
especially on 285.
Yeah, fuck 285. I try to avoid it like the plague, but sometimes not doable. It's like we all recognize the immense amount of value that cars bring to us, even in sometimes our own families, people get injured or die. It's like, what, I'm going to stop driving now?
Yep.
No, right? And so it's like, absolutely, let's say even over the next 100 years, and it'll probably even be within the next few decades, as much as there's going to be millions of people. There's going to be millions of people that die because of drones.
Yep.
But it's still going to be worth it for the greater good.
I don't know if it'll probably be like millions, that intense. But, you think so?
I think in 100 years, I think because again, in the way that I look at it, it's not even just like smaller drones like these. Like you go over to China right now, and if you have $350,000 to spend, you can buy a passenger drone. So you can actually literally get in a drone, you and another passenger, a suitcase or two.
Okay. See,
right?
When I'm thinking drone, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing the bigger picture. When I'm thinking drone, we're in a different, you know what I'm saying? Like in my world, I'm still imagining
that's
playing
kind
with
of a big drone.
In my world, that's like awesome. But then I see this big boy right here that you got on the table, and as soon as I walk in, I'm like, man, that thing is awesome, But I remember the ones that you used to make that had like 8 propellers on them. Haven't you had one? Didn't you have a bigger one too?
We've worked on a larger one for it was like a custom modification project that we did, and
I think he's thinking of the Unique.
Oh yeah, actually, the one that I bought from Best Buy.
No, because let me see. I'll tell you right now. No.
Okay.
Because I've seen those too, but the one that I remember, I think I saw online. You posted a video. I don't know if y'all were doing a class about it or something, or y'all were in and y'all were somewhere though. But it was like a big drone like this one, and I was like, man, that is crazy because to me,
This is still a small drone in my eyes.
yeah, because I'm telling you, I saw a video of you with one, a bigger one than that
Yeah.
one, and I'm like, that's crazy because the drone that I remember y'all brought around at first was something like this guy right here, you know?
Yeah.
And now y'all have them like y'all have actually created these big old beautiful ones, you know, and it's awesome.
Yeah, there's this one I'm pulling up right now. That's not the right video. Act 122. Let's see. Blue Ocean Quest. Yeah, this guy, he bought a $40,000 drone.
$40,000 drone?
Yeah. So it's a crop spraying like agriculture drone. It's an octocopter, so 8 motors like you're talking about. And we modified it to deploy clam and oyster seeds, like the little larvae, instead of like spraying fluid. And yeah, he ended up paying us almost as much as like what he spent on the drone to do that sort of modification work. We brought it out to the local drone park, you know, more than a couple of times, but one of the times, like, it folded up and like the seats folded down in the Subaru, like the motors like rub up against like the carpeted wall in the Subaru. I was like, man, I am driving around with a drone that's worth more than the vehicle I'm driving.
Car. Yeah, like that is crazy.
Yeah. And we had another close call when we had a couple of close calls with that drone.
One of the few.
Yeah, one of the few. And it's a lot worse. Like, I actually kind of got sidetracked, go figure. When I was showing my dad's friend how to operate this, like with an Xbox controller, I was using that software that's not very user-friendly. And I ended up cutting my finger. Like, I started the drone on the table that I was setting it up at accidentally. And so yeah, I ended up like cutting my hand open. I was like, the show must go on. Still like did the test flight and everything.
Dang,
but
did you accidentally press one of like the motors instead of the actual like 5 through 9?
So no, but a similarly dumb sort of mistake. So yeah. So we were using an Xbox controller, but for the purposes of me explaining it, there's this application called Q Ground Control, the one I showed you on my phone, and so you can set up like, I want X to put it into a certain flight mode or whatever, or like circle, I want it to like put it in land flight mode and it'll automatically land itself. So you can like do some basic button mapping. And so you could tell it to what's called arm the drone. So by default, if like your drone is on, my controller's connected, and if I go to take it off, it won't respond unless I arm it. So I have to like tell it, all right, make it so the motors can actually start spinning when I like throttle it up. So in that Q Ground Control software, you can set 2 buttons to perform the same action.
Oh,
so
dang.
if you only press one of them, it won't accidentally arm on you, right? So that's how I had always flown it. But if you want to then control like a different payload with a controller, you have to use this other software called Mission Planner. And it doesn't work in the same way. You only have to press one of those 2 buttons. And so I pressed one of those 2 buttons.
Accidentally?
And yeah. Triggered it.
Ah, dang
and
it.
ended up cutting my hand open. But, you know, anything worthwhile, you put blood, sweat, and tears
Heck
into.
yeah,
Right?
I mean, hey. Otherwise, what you do it for?
And, you know, I say all for the sake of innovation. I kind of skipped past the first iteration of the flamethrower that we did that actually ignited while I was in my hands, you know, going to like take it off. And so I looked like Super Mario with the fire flower, you know, just like holding. Yeah. And unfortunately, we didn't get it on video. Brian was supposed to be recording it. Thought it'd be,
Dang it,
yeah,
Brian.
He thought it'd be a good idea to run over with the fire extinguisher and put out the, you know, drone on fire in my hands. You know, I had grilling gloves on though, so you know.
Yeah, you thought about big brain.
Yeah, big brain. But then the enclosure that it was in had already like burned a hole through it, and there was like a kerosene container in it.
Holy smokes.
And I was like, man, these grilling gloves wouldn't have done shit had it actually like blown up.
Yeah,
But-
exactly. It would.
yeah.
No, that would be scary. That would be the only part that I'll probably be scared of.
And
Like-
you would have had to learn to make drones with your feet.
You have to work with
Or
some
no,
with little stubs.
we have a robotics company. We have people that can make me robotic arms, you know?
Hey, if y'all ever come up with robotic arms, y'all come up with a hand for me because I got arthritis. You know, I'm getting old, so when I close my hand, I cannot open my whole finger. So
Hey, you
whenever
got the
y'all-
Spider-Man
I
down.
know,
though.
I know. Yeah. I'll be
Peter
ready
Parker,
for whenever I
Tom
get-
Holland, watch out, dude.
I'm coming for that. I'm coming for that title. My hand just locks up automatically. But yes, bro. If y'all do, I want a hand and a finger.
Hey, dude, I'm right there with you. It's like, this body's gonna fail at some point, and I mean, there's already like superhuman sort of like athletes within like the Special Olympics, that they'll do better 100-meter times than like Usain Bolt, and it's like prosthetics have gone to not at mass scale, but they've gotten to a pretty incredible point. I mean, there was actually the earlier podcasts I did with a co-host of mine. I was showing him this video I saw. A teenage girl had like a prosthetic like arm, and you could have different attachments for
that's pretty cool.
The hand, right? So you could like Captain Hook it or whatever.
I'm not gonna lie. If I was missing my arm and somebody did something like that, I'll be laughing with it. I'll be different things. Put a brush on it so like that I don't have to worry about holding it. Just put the brush on it so I could just cut in.
Dude, what's crazy is like, so it's all controllable with your brain, just as like your actual like.
Really?
Yeah. And so what's even crazier though is she could pop off the hand from like the rest of the robotic arm, and she could remotely control the hand with her brain. Like literally had it. I was like this
Wednesday.
is like sci-fi.
like Wednesday, you'd be able to have hand walking around. That's insane.
Dude, yeah,
bro.
we are living in the future. Again, it's just like bring it to everyone.
Like if you're missing both hands, you just put them on the keyboard. You're just thinking about it. You just typing it. You're not even having to be right there.
Another one I saw that's maybe not the most appropriate to share, but saw a drone kind of in similar size to our Develop Air drones, and had a dildo attached to it.
Cut that part out.
Cut. No.
Cut that part out. That was for our purposes only.
I mean, but yeah, dude, fucking drones are getting it in, man. It's
everybody.
They're not just taking our jobs; they're taking our women.
Hey, I was telling a buddy the other day. This probably should not be on here, but I saw that the WNBA games they were throwing one.
The dildo.
I was like, yo, the fuck.
Well, and then there was it Donald Trump himself, or it might have been Donald Trump Jr. Like they like created a meme of like Donald Trump from the top of the White
breads.
House.
That.
And it was like, oh my God, dude, this is the president of the United States, or at least his son that posted it.
Yeah, yo, his son is off the man. He's
a wild
Eric
man.
is crazy.
Oh, this was Donald Trump Jr.
Oh man. Yeah. I met Eric at the airport that I'm telling you, but that was another time. The first time, that's when the plane was there. Trump's plane was there. But the other time they didn't even let us record anything is when Eric was getting off the in Manassas, Virginia. Okay. They were coming to pick him up. I guess they had done something in the area. And like they sat us down. They're like, y'all have to put your hands like this. They had Secret Service all over the place, and we're like, okay, cool. But I thought it was an awesome experience. He did say hi, so I was like, hey man, I know that he's not the president, but I mean that's as close as I can get to the president.
I mean that's as close to American royalty as
it
gets.
Yeah. So I thought it was pretty cool. I think one of the other guys that was with me, he felt some type of way. I was like, I don't care, man. I was like, hey man, this to me is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, hell, if it was Joe Biden and Hunter Biden, or just still like, oh wow, that's Hunter Biden.
Yeah, that's the president's son. Like,
you have any crack we could do together?
You probably I don't got that, but I got the hair on. Which one? You want that one?
Yeah, I heard a joke that's like, I'm fucking it up, but so many people talk shit about Biden, but Hunter Biden's my favorite, presidential son. He seems like a really cool.
He's crazy. He's a party boy.
No, really,
crazy party boy.
Yeah, I did watch a couple interviews with him, or at least one full interview with him since Donald Trump got elected. I don't know if you've heard of like the YouTube channel 5. There's like this like
I have not.
Yeah, there's this independent news reporter guy and Andrew Callahan. Yeah, and he did a long form sit down interview with Hunter Biden, and people were like, "Oh wow, this makes him seem like a lot more relatable," and it did, but it was like he's a decent guy, but he's not like what I think we should want, as the
son of the president. You expect
American exceptionalism,
Yep.
right? You know, like he's an exceptional guy, right?
Yeah.
And that is clearly not the case. And he did make crack seem very compelling. I'll tell you that.
Like, yeah, I bet some people in the hood did like him, but like you're right on that part, because like when you picture somebody like, you know, like Biden, I will say that his people, like his background before him, were they part of political as well? Like, does he come from a political family?
Well, Biden had been involved in U.S. federal politics, you know.
So you would expect his son to have been grown up in an environment of
proper,
etiquette, like you would
etiquette,
expect him
high
to
class,
be at a yes, sir. Because like for example, one of the things that you know that I always told your parents about was the way that they raised you. You know, like
poorly.
No, heck no.
Yeah, no.
Like, hey, your dad, I might have. I can definitely say that I have a lot of similarities, like your pop, the way that I am with my children. You know.
Yep.
I'm cool.
Yep.
You know, just what you got to do.
Yep.
You know, I think I've done well enough to a certain point that I believe you can carry on without me having to be on top of you, because your parents were always very, very open with you, you know, in a great way, you know, and honestly, I've taken a lot of that and put it onto my children, because I got raised up in a household where it was very, very strict.
Right.
You know,
you do what we say, no questioning it, no conversations, no ifs, ands, or buts. Yeah.
Nothing. Like, it was either you do it or you get your butt whooped. Like, there was no options. And
I have my fair share of that.
I was like that at one point, you know, with my kids. I had my first two kids, and I told them that the other day. I was like, hey, man, I'm sorry, but your brothers have gotten the best dad ever. You know, I'm like, because I got it now. Like, I understand it now.
I was learning, you know.
Yeah, you know, Bradley, I was like, dude, when you were born, I was 19 years old. Like, I was still a kid, dude. Like, I'm learning. I'm growing up with you at the same time, you know. And he understands it a little bit more now, and we get along more about that now, you know. But when it was just them two, I was very strict. I was like, because I thought that's what a parent was supposed to be. Because
we're not supposed to be friends. And yeah, like to your point, like my dad and I, we have like moments that we don't get along, but it, you know, it can always be worked out. And at the end of the day, you know, it may get like heated or whatever, but we're willing to have that sort of, you know, conversation. And it's like, hey, you know, at the end of the day, we'll get along, but I'm also your dad. You know, I'm not here to be your friend, you know. And
I got those moments where I have to tell my boys that I'm like, look, man, you know, I love you, right? Like, I'll tell them, I'm like, y'all know I love you, but there's also a certain line that I still have to be your dad. At the end of the day, I'm still your dad. Like, if I tell you, hey, man, and you can't do that, and then you go around my back and you go ask your mommy because you know that mom's going to say yes, it's not right, man. Because if I tell you I don't want you to do that, it's because there's a reason behind it, you know? Like, and
I'm doing it just to be a dick. I'm looking out for you.
Like, you know, like, he had forgot to get his tag renewed on the car, and I'm like, bro, I'm not being a jerk telling you stop driving the car. Like, you're gonna get pulled over. Like, it's not me being a jerk. I'm not trying to be a mean dad. I'm not trying to be an asshole, because dude, I told you, take my truck. You know, like, take my truck, take your mom's car, take your brother's car. Like,
go get your tags and help your future self.
I told you, go get the emissions. Like, the emissions takes. He went the other day, last Saturday.
10-20 minutes.
Yeah, and he was like, I know. I was like, but you choose to argue over something that I don't want to argue about, because it's pointless, and it's, if you just do it, you'll be okay. You know, do you remember my brother-in-law, Eric?
Yeah.
You know, Eric, man, he's doing great. Like, he's like, and he actually told the kids the other day that he's like, I know that he sometimes comes off like he's crazy, because, you know, I got my. If you don't know me, you think I'm crazy, bro. You know what I'm saying? And
if you know me, you think I'm crazy.
Yeah, but I said earlier, like, that's one of the things that brought us together. Like, you know, like, sometimes we think a little bit beyond what other people think, you know, and makes people think that you're crazy when you're not. Like, you know what I'm saying? You just think a little bit more, you know? Not that I mean, it might be that you're smarter, but at the same time, you see the picture more than someone else will, you know? And that's what he was telling the kids. Like, look, your dad might be a little crazy and everything, but he's telling you the shit that's really gonna do right for you.
And I think it really comes from a place of caring, right?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's like,
'cause, you know?
just you're gonna be more thoughtful, and you're gonna be more passionate, and sometimes
yeah.
that can come across as intensity or whatever.
Yeah,
but
you know how I
care.
am, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, come on, man, I know you can do it. Like, I know you can. And sometimes they'll look at it like, man, my dad's just being, he thinks he's just being crazy. But like some of the things, like I was saying, I know it sounds like I'm playing, but this is a perfect example where I can show you that I'm not joking about some of the things that I learned from your parents.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
That my kids, my 17-year-old probably has better credit than a lot of people that are in their 30s, you know? And it's mainly because I learned that from your parents.
Yeah.
You know, introduced me to, I can add them on my credit cards.
Yeah.
You know, like I can, you know, it's not the responsibility, but it was.
Still helps build their credit.
Yeah,
So
you know, and it's something that I never had, bro.
Right.
Like, I didn't know about that. Like, I had to learn about credit by fucking it up.
Yeah.
You know, and it's stuff that I am teaching them that my Bradley, my 19-year-old, bro, he could literally go and get a damn car if he wanted to, you know?
Yeah.
I tell him don't.
Yeah.
And he's like, Dad, trust me, I would not want to invest in stuff like that,
Yeah.
you know? And that was one of the things when I pulled up today and I saw that you were in the Subaru, boo,
Yeah.
I was like, my boy thinking. I was like, you know why? Because you're not interested in having the newest
The
vehicle.
Flash.
You know what I'm saying?
There's some vehicle no, but actually even like my perfect ideal, my perfect ideal world is getting around in a passenger drone. But
Yeah.
you know,
Hey, that'd be awesome, bro. Like, take me to Mississippi. I'm going to take a nap.
really, I
Bro,
think
that'd be awesome.
I think personally they'll become really popular if you're doing like between 60 and 120 miles or whatever travel in a day, personally. And then I think you start getting into like maybe an equivalent of like a Sprinter van that could be used either personally or commercially.
That'd be pretty cool.
And then you get a little bit larger yet. I would love to start seeing public transportation entities like MARTA start to offer like passenger drone flights where you basically have like a double-decker flying bus.
Bro, imagine that.
Yeah, and all possible, right? But you could have like MARTA go from like here to Augusta or Atlanta to Augusta, Atlanta to Savannah, Atlanta to Macon, Atlanta, like to all these places that weren't really accessible via public transportation.
Heck yeah.
And, you know,
Quicker than the Greyhound.
well, quicker than the Greyhound. And honestly, like if you look at the infrastructure costs, it's not like, you know, you need to spend billions of dollars on railway to like, I think even just to build MARTA up here, it was going to be something like $6 billion, you know, to lay the rail way. And it's like,
It would just have to be somebody that, like, when they're in charge of everything, like, they got to really know their stuff.
they got to be, and that's where we're at with the FAA right now. And really, I would love to see like what Eisenhower did for the interstate system, because before then, cars were great, but it was really to get around your own town, right?
Yep.
And it wasn't until the interstate, like, well, of course, for the military, we need to logistically be able to get, you know, military equipment from one
here to
coast
there,
to
yep.
the other.
And
but,
quick, not freaking 3 months.
Right, and it literally was. I think the record prior to the interstate system, and it may have, you know, come down just before, but at one point it was like 3 weeks to get across the country. And if you're familiar with the Cannonball Run, people are doing that in less than 24 hours now. You know, and I mean that's insane. You know, I've seen some of those stories that, you know, one of my favorites, a guy. Rented a Mustang, you know, from like a Enterprise or Budget or, you know, whatever, took it to a local shop, had it all gutted, I think installed NOS in it as well.
God dang.
Yeah, like literally even took out like the passenger seat out of it. And I think his average speed was like 125 miles per hour, you know, across the country. And installed an auxiliary fuel tank in it as well.
To not have to be stopping to put gas often.
And then I think his top speed was like 160, 165,
smokes.
something like that. But all in a rental, you know, and then like takes it all back, you know, puts it all back as it was and returns it. And
Holy smokes, I can, and then the person gets in the car and they don't even know what happened to this car. This
like,
car just went on a...
it's seen some shit, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's other people, they'll go and like they'll coordinate with like maybe fans if they have like a YouTube audience or even just like through forums like, hey, here's my route that I'll be taking, and they'll have like people that are watching for cops, along these sections of the route. Sometimes they'll even be able to coordinate with like general aviation pilots that fly overhead.
That's pretty cool. Heck yeah.
But unfortunately, I don't know if we'll see the Cannonball Run record broken again, since in COVID when like everyone was off the roads, a couple of guys or a group of guys, they did it in like sub 23 hours
you can't do that right now, especially on the highways. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Depending where you're coming from. Last time I had to go from where the Green Bay's from, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
From Wisconsin.
Brian's neck of the woods.
Oh man, cheese boy.
He is a cheese boy. We go to this DeKalb Farmers Market. Have you ever been down there?
No.
DeKalb Farmers Market? Dude, that place is amazing. It's like the Costco of farmers markets, but it's not like a farmers market like at downtown Marietta or downtown Alpharetta. It's like a permanent establishment, but it's every cuisine, every like produce item, like everything from everywhere around the world. You can get it in wholesale as well.
You just made my mouth watery.
Dude, I go down there and like stock up on fresh bagels because like that's the only place you can get like.
They got bagels too?
Yeah, they have like a whole like bakery section, and it's all baked there in store.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Like the bagels, for example. It's only 6 ingredients, so there's no preservatives or whatever. So, but I'll still go buy like 7 packages of bagels, each with like 5 to a pack, and then individually like plastic wrap them, freeze them, and then just thaw them out every morning. And because they'll last like 3 days otherwise, because it's like legit bread.
They'll mold.
Yeah.
Oh man!
But yeah, that's the way I pretty much start every morning.
I'm gonna have to check that out because I Starbucks and my bagels every morning. That's my go-to.
They have great coffee there. It's like they have a whole coffee section. They have like chocolate like that you can get from the raw cacao nibs. If you use a lot of spices for cooking, no better place to get spices. Like you get like a big like container of like any spice for like $2-3.
Holy smokes! Yeah, compared to Walmart, they'll charge like $10 nowadays.
Yeah, or even like for the small ones, like $3-4.
Yep.
Yeah,
for a tiny one.
Yeah. So the DeKalb Farmers Market. Anyone around the Metro Atlanta area, it's worth the trek. I mean, again, even up with us, it's a 40-minute trek. No traffic, 40-minute trek, but well worth it.
Heck yeah. You know that it's worth it when you make that drive.
Yeah.
Because if I make a drive outside of 15-20 minutes, it's worth it.
Yeah.
I'm not going that far unless it's worth it.
Yeah, for me, it's like I'll go anywhere business takes me, and then otherwise, like I even don't really like the drive from like my parents' house to the office here. Woe is me. A 20-minute, 15-20-minute drive. But
that's what I'm saying. Like if it
adds up. Yeah.
It's like. I really gotta drive. Like even the job site in Mississippi is literally like 8 minutes away from where I'm staying at the hotel that I'm staying at, and I'll be like, damn, I really don't feel like making that drive.
It'd be nice to pop a drone out over there.
I imagine, heck yeah, because it's literally like from here. I don't remember what I saw on the way over here.
Like the marketplace, but like basically the intersection of the road.
Like that's how far it is. Like I'm not that far away, like at all, and it's like. I imagine if it just be like, all right, let me go see if the drone could pop up real quick. Go check the job site. All right, everybody's working. All right, let's go back.
I even think like with a lot of construction companies, especially like the bigger multinational construction companies, where, hey, we're going to be working on 12 different projects around the country, and each of them are going on for like a minimum of 3 months, maybe a year or longer in some cases. They just have a $3,000, $4,000, or $5,000 drone that's on site at each of these places. And so now even like if they're in like the conference rooms talking with all the investors, at any point they could just like pop into the drone at any of these sites around the country and get a real time, feed of like what's going on there, how the progression is going along. And
Haskell, which is the company that's building all them big old data centers.
Reach out. We can help. Yeah.
That's what y'all need. Y'all need one of them.
Well, one of what we have upcoming, because again, really, Develop Air is a development platform, not really meant for like the everyday business, but we are working on that. So reach out. We can,
Yeah, I really do. Cause man, that company, they're massive. They're worldwide, bro.
Well, yeah, I would love to
They're worldwide.
We've just recently started getting some bigger opportunities to where, again, I told you, we just recently sold Developer number 38, our first ever order through our website. Yeah. Well, second order through our website, first ever order from through our website from a customer we had no interaction with
That's
prior.
cool.
Yeah, very. I was like,
That's awesome.
Yeah. But now we actually just completed a contract with the Army. And so actually one of our customers that bought 10 of these Developer mini drones, they host a competition for middle school and high school students where they have to build or buy both a ground-based robot as well as a drone and then modify both of them to complete a series of challenges within like a 10-foot by 10-foot, indoor playing field.
That's pretty cool.
And so they wanted a smaller drone that could be modified. And so we only had like these larger Developer models at the time. And so we pre-sold that Developer mini before it was even like designed or anything, we had maybe like just started like the very first like CAD like computer design, but like it was still quite a ways out.
That's pretty awesome.
But we were able to get them 10 of them. Unfortunately, even though it fits within like the requirements of the competition for like the size of the drone, it was still just a little bit too big for like the playing field to really be used effectively. So now we're working on the Developer Micro, an even smaller version. Cool. So that's actually just flown for the second time as of like a few days ago.
What is the range, the difference between this one and that one?
So really, the big differences between the models are the payload that they can carry. So the Developer Mini is designed to carry up to a 1.5 pound payload. Our base model Developer can carry a 3 pound payload. This one, given it has the taller landing gear, that taller landing gear can be put on any of these larger models.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
This can carry up to a 5 pound payload. And then our highest performance model that we have right now, the Developer HP, can carry a 7 pound payload.
That's pretty sweet.
And then, the Developer Micro is more designed for software sort of customization and projects, but you can also still carry a 0.5 pound payload and really you can actually carry a little bit more, but that's just what we officially support.
That's still pretty cool.
Yeah.
Imagine having one of those on the job site. Like for me, what just came to my mind is like, hey, dang, I left my hard hat.
Yeah,
I left my hard hat.
Try to find it.
Send it over there. Hey, Freddie, throw that hard hat on there real quick.
So what we're working towards, I kind of alluded to this previously. Like, we don't have the best example like already built out to show you, but let's say I go here to add a geofence. Go to drones. I need to add a drone. We're not actually connected to our drone, but this is the local drone park. And we basically just put the drone there by default if you're not actually connected to one, because you can like pre-create a mission even when you're not connected to your drone.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Heck yeah.
So if you're like not going to be in an area with an internet connection to like open up our software, create a mission, you can create it ahead of time, save it, upload it to your drone, ahead of time, and then once you get out there, it's already able to like then replay, that
That's
mission.
pretty sweet.
But so like the
it still complete its mission without having to have Wi-Fi or internet.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And so let's say like this is the area that we set on the map, and then I can like adjust that to whatever area. And now imagine if I could enter in like a search for hard hat, right? And so now it would automatically fly up and down that area, with a camera or potentially even other sensors. So imagine you had sensors to detect heartbeats, after like a hurricane or a flood or whatever comes through.
That would be, oh my goodness.
And so that's where it's like, we're just trying to figure out what are the most common applications that drones will be used for. And we're not trying to build the best drone for even like search and rescue, right? But think about if we can just build out a search functionality for drones where like, hey, I want to search for my dog that gets out of the yard.
Yep.
That same search functionality could be used for you searching for a hard hat on, a construction site, or a law enforcement officer looking for a gray Honda Accord as part of like an Amber Alert, right?
Makes it easier instead of them having to try to chase down the whole city going crazy.
Everyone just setting up their drone within 2 square miles or whatever the area that their drone can cover, as part of one flight. It's just automatically searching that
area. Or like
area.
A heat sensor, like, oh my goodness, that'd be awesome.
We actually have a couple of those over there. Yeah, we have a couple of those thermal sensors over there. We actually had an issue. Delivered one to a customer, fine, working well, and then we sold another one and was fine, delivered it to the customer, but then we've upgraded the components that go inside Develop Air. So I think I showed you what are called electronic speed controllers.
The ones that overheat.
Yeah.
If you don't get the right ones.
So you need 4 of those, like pretty big speed controllers, one for each motor. Or you can have a 4-in-1. So all 4 of those are built into this one small little board. Saves a lot of space.
Oh, yeah.
And so we actually built one of these for that customer with these, like upgrade it with that new version of the components. And I didn't do a good job on quality control. So like these solder joints right here, they were loose and then they shorted mid-flight. So about 80 feet up, our drone with this $3,000 thermal camera comes falling out of the sky.
Man.
And so we actually had to then go back to our first customer and buy the thermal camera that we had sold to them off of them because we couldn't get a new one from China with all like the trade restrictions going on. So
Yep.
yeah, we're actually still going through that rebuild or testing because it wasn't just like, hey, we got to rebuild it with this new thermal camera. There's a video transmitter module that broke and
dang.
So we had to do a little bit of redesign work and so yeah, it's I forgot why you just brought up the thermal camar.
Yeah, that's pretty cool though.
Yeah,
that's sweet because even with a thermal camera, like imagine like we're saying, like let's say a police officer, car searching in the trunk, and they could.
So one that we're working towards as well is like a suspect on the run, and then you might have like a K9 unit, right? That's being set after them, right? And so right now, some law enforcement agencies will actually use a drone and like try to like follow the K9 unit following the suspect, maybe like running through the woods or whatever, right? But imagine if you had like a GPS collar on the dog. You could actually just have the drone automatically keep up with the dog, follow the dog, have the thermal camera centered on the dog and the suspect without any like drone operator having to like be good,
My question was also going to be something like that. Can you set it up to be able to connect to like my dog? I have the things from Apple.
Yeah, the Apple tags.
Apple tags. Could it be connected to like an Apple tag?
Not the Apple tag specifically, but yeah, something very similar.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
where it just like hovers above it, like as long as it can, of course. But
well, and that's so we could already do that with one drone, like 2 drones, one following the other, because for all like the drone like technology needs to be able to do that is a GPS unit and then a radio that transmits that GPS information back to the computer or whatever, and then that computer can then share that information with the other drones.
That's pretty cool.
So the way that we're going about it, because if you're doing it in the way like drones as they would operate, our drones as they would operate by default, you're limited by the radio range, right? But let's say, the mission's, going a couple miles away through woods and whatever, you might not keep a radio range that distance, but like both on the collar of the dog, you could use like a 4G LTE, like it's a low power version, so you don't need like the same sort of like data that you would get on your phone to like watch videos or whatever.
Yeah, just enough to be able to ping it.
Yeah, super low power, right?
To be able to ping, yep.
And then that way you only have to charge like the dog collar every 2 or 3 weeks instead of, every day, right?
Yep.
And so it's like, oh, fuck, we need to go chase a suspect, but is the collar charge? No. Yeah.
Well, I guess we're screwed now.
Yeah. But again, that could not just be a dog collar, but we're making it small enough that it could be equipped to a dog collar, or you could put it in a car, or you could attach it to a person.
That would be pretty badass. Yeah. You could put it on the car, like for example, like if somebody steals your car, you'd be like, "Go find my car."
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Are already doing that.
Who?
Police, not quite to that level of automation.
Sticky thing that they stick to the back of people's cars and they track them.
What?
Yeah.
Imagine picking it to a drone and the drone just.
automatically.
They don't
follows
even
it.
have to pay somebody to go find out what this person's doing all day long.
You know, something kind of similar, but again, more from like a consumer perspective. I saw back in like 2018, something like that, Audi came up with a proof of concept for drones that would launch from your car. And let's say you're driving late at night around a mountainous road that your headlights can't always reach around those mountains. So you could actually have drones with like spotlights like this being extra headlights, you know,
That is
for your
awesome.
car, right? So I was like, wow, that's only a matter of time before I think every at least police car, they have like a drone in a box system built into
Heck
their
yeah.
car, right? So they're never even having to worry about a controller or whatever. They're just on the laptop that they already have there, launch drone and, you know, have it go do whatever mission
Or if
they
something
need.
that happens to them, they get stuck in an area, the drone could just, man, all kinds of stuff can happen. That's awesome.
Yeah, you know, on one hand, I really want our law enforcement agencies and our military to have access to the best technology, but I also don't want us to become a big brother security state, you know? And so that's where I am like, as much as I talk about those use cases, I always try to bring it back to how can it help the everyday person? Because, you know, kind of like and this isn't a Colt revolver, right? But Samuel Colt, who invented the Colt revolver, you know, he was kind of revered for making everyone equal in the Western frontier. You know, there's like the cliche quote, like, God didn't make people equal, the Colt revolver did. And it was like, you know, it really was the case, you know, like, the biggest guy in town, you know, so to speak, would often, you know, set the law of the land, right? But, you know, anyone walk around with a 6-shot revolver, you know.
Heck yeah, you gonna listen.
You're
gonna listen.
The playing field has been equalized.
Heck yeah, you gonna listen because it don't matter how big you are. That 45 hit you, you know,
you're going
feel
down.
that.
Yeah.
You gonna be like, damn, I shouldn't have messed with that guy.
And so, not that I really want these sort of drones being used as civilian weapons, but if you think like when, yes, Samuel Colt was selling these or trying to sell, you know, revolvers to militaries all around the world, and, you know, at that time, he didn't even invent the revolver, you know. He just invented a mass-producible revolver that was really reliable because at the time, it was like a multi-shot gun. Yeah, that's like magic, you know. That's like, yeah, sure. And that's kind of how people think about a drone that can do more than one task.
Heck yeah, like I could only imagine like how much stuff it would help me out at home. Like, you know, I got lazy days, bro. I got lazy days, and I got a life going on. You know, my kid's mother has a life going on. Like for example, in this situation, let's say we want a Red Bull. Yeah. You know, like, hey, the Red Bull's on the way.
Yeah, racetrack, and really, I think it'll get to the point where you have your Amazon Alexa, Google Home, something like that. Again, your drone's also connected to the internet, either while it's still at your house or just outside your house in the yard, connected to your home Wi-Fi, and then when it gets out of your yard, now it's on the internet via like a SIM
the
card.
watches, like my Apple Watch that has its own little while I'm inside home, my Wi-Fi is functioning with it.
Yep.
But as soon as I drive off, it automatically picks up its own little service.
Yep. So I think the same thing with drones, right? Like you could just talk to your Apple Watch or your Google Home, Amazon Alexa, whatever, and just voice command, say, hey, send my Omnibot Air or send Omnibot Air number 3 to Starbucks and pick up the order I just placed. And now, of course, there will have to be some sort of integrations within the app, but they already have that built out for a curbside pickup.
Heck yeah.
And so now it's like, hey, is it a drone or is it a car coming to pick up?
Heck yeah.
And again,
like they could have a section. They could even have a section, like for example, outside or something that the drone just comes and it knows already, like boxes, like the lockers when you go for Amazon or when you go to Home Depot, where it just goes specifically to that section, just grabs what it's there to pick up and heads out.
Yep,
that'd be pretty sweet.
And so I think that's right around the corner. You know, it's obviously going to take some time to roll out. Some people are already doing drone deliveries, but again, not with their own drones. I think it'll still probably be a couple decades, unfortunately, until that's at any sort of meaningful scale. I mean, if you go on YouTube right now, you can already find people with like flying camera drones that they'll call the local McDonald's, and they'll just like load it up with like the exact change for their order, or they'll load it up with a $20 bill, and then they'll just have someone that works at that McDonald's
put the change back.
Yeah, put the change in, put the food, and so all very sort of manual, right? But that's only going to become more and more accessible for the everyday person. person.
That would be awesome. Man, I can see the benefits in that because I would be one of the people that would invest into something like that. You know?
I think everyone will, right? But like then from a personal defense perspective, right? Even non-weaponized, you could say your drone every hour on the hour do a perimeter scan, right? Or hey, every morning at 8 a.m. go water the garden, or
like we have the iRobot like at 3 o'clock in the morning. It vacuums the house, and then I'll clearly sometimes you hear it go, but I know that's awesome. Like even just to be able to every hour do a quick run through, make sure everybody's good or everything's good. Like I could really see the benefits of something like that.
And then the other cases, as we talked about with the flamethrower, the FAA doesn't look kindly even to flamethrowers that aren't otherwise legally considered or classified as weapons. But you can't legally attach a gun to a drone. I think that is unconstitutional as well. I mean, if you look at the Second Amendment, as it's been ruled by the Supreme Court, there's one real landmark case. I forget the exact year, but it was the United States versus Miller, and I forget his first name. But he was in Chicago as part of like some parade or like a demonstration, and he had a sawed-off shotgun, and he got arrested. He thought he was well under his Second Amendment rights. But the Supreme Court ruled that no well-organized militia would issue a sawed-off shotgun, And so, but if you look at what's being used in Ukraine, used in Russia, and actually, let me provide a little bit more context to this software. This Mission Planner software was the exact same program that the Ukrainians used on that Russian airbase attack. So literally using drones just like this, software, literally the exact same free open source software. And it's like, so you're going to tell me that these are not issued as part of a well-organized militia?
Yeah.
And if that's the case, as they are, then the federal government should not have any ability to restrict ownership or usage of these sort of drones, right? And I kind of glossed over it, but if I was even just send one of these over to the neighbor, worst case scenario happens, right? A motor gives out or a couple motors give out or whatever, and it just free falls from the sky, lands on someone, kills them, right? We already have a law. It's called manslaughter, right? I'm still responsible for my drone at the end of the day. We don't need to make me a criminal just for going and trying to get a couple eggs from my neighbor, And so even beyond that, even as a recreational drone operator, it works a little bit differently, but you have to get a registration number with the FAA, and you can use that one registration number across all of your drones. Now, if you're a commercial drone operator, you have to get a registration number for each one of your drones.
A weapon, kind of like it, because like you'll know who this drone belongs to.
Okay, not all the time, right? But especially like commercially, I'm more open to that, right? But recreationally, I should just be able to buy a drone and not have to register it with the FAA, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, something like that, yes. But if you have a fleet, then it's different,
right. But because, it's totally, if I were to make this into a fully fireable 3D printed gun, I can do that, no problem, right? Now, if I were to want to make and sell them, as a company, then I have to go through the
because you're doing more than one. It's not one of them.
Well, and it's really selling them. Yep. I could build these and give them away, as much as I'd probably have people trying to find something else to get me for, But that is strictly speaking perfectly legal. But yeah, unfortunately. The policymakers that we have just aren't understandably so, right, familiar with drone technology beyond think about when drones first came into the public eye. It was really late during the George W. Bush administration, Obama administration. Anytime you heard drone, it was some Middle Eastern getting a warhead on their forehead.
Yeah, it was nothing like this
right.
At this scale, this stuff.
But then, fast forward even a decade to 2015, 2016 or so, and then you have all these flying camera drones, and it's who's really going to need a flying camera drone, right? But now we're starting to see, and of course we're starting to make drones that can do a lot more than just take photos and videos. hey, yeah, there's maybe too many restrictions on being able to own and use these for the everyday person, right? Because again, either we're going to start making criminals out of everyone that's buying a drone like this and using it to like share goods with their neighbor, or like right now it's also illegal to like do any sort of like fishing or hunting with a drone. I think the one exception, you can, if you've already like shot a deer, you can like use a drone to go find where the deer is.
Deer fell at.
Yeah, but you can't like go like scout deer ahead of time. That's illegal. Many people do, but yeah. So yeah, it's definitely a wild world that's changing. As one of my professors, he was like my academic advisor. He was having all of us do a project. We had to write a paper on one field within aerospace. I ended up getting assignment on very light jets, but he was saying, just know, all of you unmanned aircraft systems guys, like the guys in the drone program like myself, you guys are in the wild west of aviation. And it's not even just like aviation as we're talking about. Yeah, it's going to change like travel for people,
Yes,
over time.
definitely.
In the meantime, though, we're already starting to see drones being used for cargo, collecting information. And that's, still just at like the tip of the iceberg for, where it's going. And, again, like to make that similarity or, kind of, comparison to Samuel Colt and, what he did, for the American frontier, selling the West. And even just beyond that, like that was before our first real industrial revolution, right? Like before then there was like the cotton gin that, was like a mass manufactured product. But other than that, like any furniture or anything that you would buy, even houses, all just custom made, right? And he was really like the first one, at least within America, to bring about industry. Like, hey, we're going to make one product, make it the same way, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, million times over. All the parts are going to be interchangeable. And we've just lost that in this country. We're talking about James, even making pants now, which jeans, I think that's incredible, right? Just because I think so often now, especially around this area where there's a big Indian population, one, and then two, just like it's a well-off area. So like a lot of parents like, oh yeah, go into computer science, go into, some technical field where you're thinking with your brain, and like
you don't physically do anything anymore.
Right. And and it's like, we almost think about people that work with their hands as lesser than, and that's not good, I think, for American society. I mean, look at Japan. It's completely opposite. You work in software there and you're thought as a lesser than, know, and it's like you're actually building, a physical product or providing a tangible service. Like you're looked at, as
even
a
in the
high-class member
Hispanic
of society.
culture, like let me give you an example.
Yeah.
When I used to work at Best Buy, like people will look at me like, oh, you're working a lazy man's job. I'm being serious. Like that's a lazy man's job. Like they'll look at it like that. But then like if I would do this, they'll look at me like, yo, that guy's a genius. Like, like he's really doing something, believe it or not. Like that's probably why when I sell this, when I first walked in, it just shocked me, dude, because you hear of people doing it.
Right.
Yeah. But it's like you're saying, it's not here.
Right.
It's not here.
It's all in China.
You hear about it. You see it, but you don't see it.
Right.
You
Experience
get me?
it. Yeah.
You don't get to experience it. Being able to see it like with my own eyes is like, yo, this is awesome. I can only imagine how much hours, how much effort it takes to be able to do it, how many headaches. Because I have headaches and I'm a painter, dude. Like, I own a painting company. Yeah. So, like, I can only imagine the headaches these give you when you're like, damn, I know it's supposed to work like this. Or the arguments that y'all both have, like, no, but it does, like, da-da-da. Oh, you put the cable. I done had that happen to me before. Even on the situation where my trailer fell off the back of my truck one time when I was in Arizona. And, it starts swerving, and then I put the for the lighting, the connector for the lights, and it melted, but I had put it backwards because the groove that it was always there melted off. So I put it on, and I'm like, and every time I will blink left, I will be blinking right. in the trailer until somebody tells me, and I'm like, oh, dang, like it's just an example, like, like some people can do this and some people can't.
Yeah, and it really is just like, all right, it's a constant problem solving, and or putting out fires. And, a way I've heard it is on one hand, you're constantly putting out fires. On the other hand, you're also starting fires.
Yeah. But if you don't start that fire, then you will never know what you're capable of getting to.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a million more headaches between now and where y'all need to get to.
Hopefully, many millions. Right. Yeah.
It's less of a headache than like blowing up a rocket for Elon Musk.
Heck yeah.
Well, yeah, but
and it costs a lot less.
Yeah, that is the thing, and I've had a temper still occasionally, but I've also then had team members that like they think that I'm always like cool, calm, and collected because like we'll have like a flight test and crashes, comes down, doesn't perform right, and it's like, aren't you like mad? And it's like, oh, like we'll fix it, right? I mean, and then we'll move forward. But this is why we come and do testing. Like, if it works every time, we're not pushing the boundaries enough, right?
Yeah. You're just doing the same thing that you did last week. You're just repeating the same process,
And so, yeah, to Brian's point, it is a lot better where, like, typically, we very rarely have like any electronics break in a crash. Actually, a week or so ago, we had the first time we had a battery where the connector for the charger port broke. So I'm having to figure out how we can actually take out the individual little like crimps on the end of each wire, install
and
a new
just
connector.
Replacing a new connector on it?
But then I was actually working on it, and I had two of like the little metal crimps touch, and then it started smoking. And I was like, all right, yeah, I should probably tape these up.
Heck because those are live.
Yeah, so I was like, oh yeah, that would make sense. But that's where I'm also not like the engineer or developer as much. It's just like I'm really kind of our production guy right now. I'm mostly sales and marketing, like I was saying, the Lorax of drones doing like but they also don't build themselves. And so like we have a great team of really all part-time people that do like the research and development, but then it's like, all right, we have the design done. And there's been other people that have built them, but as far as a developer going out to a customer, like I'm the only one that like, will like really stay up at night. Like, all right, one, to make sure it gets done, but two, like that it's a really high quality that, like
it meets the standards. Cause you know what you want to put out there.
Yeah. And like, it's mine, even though like my name is literally not on it, my name is on it. Right?
It's still you. It's your business. Yeah.
Right. And so, I can't really expect that of, especially people working, part-time, really free or next to free in almost, every case. But, we are going through like, how we can make it more streamlined, like a production line or assembly line, I told you like the Army contract that we got, that wasn't actually for any of our drones, but we helped the customer, our customer that hosts that competition. They were actually awarded this Army contract, but then the Army was going to like actually like give it to them. But the contract had to be awarded to a small business, and our customer is set up as a nonprofit. So we ended up taking on the contract for them, basically just as the middleman. But now that we completed that contract literally like 3 days ago, like all paid for and everything, that same day we get another email from a different group in the U.S. Army.
You're giving yourself exposure out there.
Well, and the credibility, because like I'm a young hippie kid, that like who is this guy to run a drone company, especially, one that could scale up to be like a household, name brand, and then all of a sudden we deliver on a contract with the Army. We get the Army reach out and say, hey, we're interested in your drones to be a supplier to enhance the U.S. drone capabilities.
That's badass, dude.
Yeah. And
that is
like,
freaking awesome.
So knock on wood, I'll come through, and then we do have, the problems like how do we go from we've made 38 of these that we've ever built, sold, and delivered to customers, maybe double that, maybe closing in on 100 amongst all of like our demos and like testing models and whatever that we built. But how can we go from, 100 over like 4 years to how can we build like 100 a month, and potentially, even more. And so that's a lot of what we're figuring out. Also, that same day, I had a conversation Tuesday earlier this week with a professor out of Arizona, Sonoran Desert Institute. I was like, where was this school when I was going to school? They only have 2 programs, and it's a fully accredited university. They have a firearms program, and they have a drone program.
What part of Arizona?
That's a great question. The Sonoran Desert, I guess. But yeah, Sonoran Desert Institute. Tempe, Arizona.
Oh, okay.
But so they actually, at least the drone program is all online. But almost all of our customers have either been high schools or colleges, with a few exceptions. And they may have like a drone program, or sometimes they'll have a computer science or an engineering program that they'll just use our drones in, or the drones are designed to be used in. But then these drone specific programs, they're like brand new. Oftentimes they don't even have like, I hate to say it, but like a qualified teacher to teach the program. Like a couple examples that we work with, they have a retired airline pilot, come in to teach the drone program, the closest thing that they have to aviation. But like one of them doesn't even really know how to use their computer, much less, a drone like this. And so not ideal, but in that case, I like to say kind of like the early days of the computers. I'm not expecting you as the teacher to know how to use it and get the most out of it. Just make it available for the 1 out of the 100 students that will take interest in it.
And then grab it and
runs with it, right?
Yeah.
And makes the next payload, makes the next software program, right?
Yeah.
But this program out in Arizona, they actually, their intro class is like 300 plus students. And each one of them gets their own drone that they get to keep.
Wow.
And so they're buying actually drones from the company that actually makes these little flight control. So this is like the brain of our drone. So this is like where you plug in the GPS, the radio, all like the devices that you connect to it. And then it also has like the computer that does all the processing to make sure like the drone stays stable in flight.
That's pretty cool.
And that's made by a Chinese company. Now, theoretically, we could make our own version of it using all like the open source documentation and, have our own American. That is on the roadmap. But this company also makes kit drones about the same size as Develop Air, but they have to actually be put together. And so they've been buying those from this Chinese company, and they're looking to switch over to us. But one of the problems that we're having to figure out is they're not going to place an order with a company that doesn't have the ability to produce 400 of them
ASAP.
Right.
Yep.
And so I actually connected them. We have a few one real notable like angel investor that's we brought on board, based out of Georgia Tech. And long story short, he sold a internet security company he started. It was called Internet Security Systems to IBM back in 2006 for like $2 billion. Yeah. And so unfortunately, just the way that the tech industry is around here, it's not so much of a tech industry. It's more like, how can we build software that will scale or streamline an existing service business, as opposed to like, hey, let's actually build a new technology platform that the rest of the world, comes to be built on top of, right? And of course, it's like, who am I, to do that, But that's basically what we're trying to get across is, hey, there's a real opportunity here, not just for this Sonoran Desert Institute or the Army. There are a lot of organizations that need low-cost, repairable, modifiable drones, even in this kind of rudimentary state, that they just won't place orders with us because we don't have the established credibility up until recently, just doing the Army contract. Even then, it's like, all right, we need 20 of them, let alone 200 or 400 of them. Hey, if you are willing to buy 3, we can do that, no problem. But we
if
basically
they need a large amount.
They're going to go elsewhere, and it's like the only place elsewhere to go right now is China. And so it really is like, hey, we need not just an investment in our company, but really an investment in our country, right? You know, and it's like, why as an investor would you want to take, let's say, $1 million risk, you know, to build up all this infrastructure to do manufacturing, when it's like, hey, this software company that we've already invested in as well, to scale up, they can do so pretty much instantaneously for next to no money, right? And so it's just like not as compelling as an investment, at least on the front end. But also, if you look at the biggest companies in the world, you know, like in Silicon Valley, NVIDIA, they make physical graphics cards. Apple, given they don't make their own products anymore, and they're starting to come back to that, or at least bring it back to, you know, it's all hardware with software on top of it. It's like, it's very rare that you just find a software company that actually provides value to like the everyday person, other than maybe social media. And
Heck that, hey, you do that, that'll be awesome. Yeah, y'all gotta make it work, man. Y'all have to, cause bro, like having stuff like that and something that it's actually from here. That's the thing, and that's the part too that we're missing. Yeah, because we don't have that as much anymore.
We have no. Think about the largest global companies that we have here in Atlanta. None of them are tech companies, and maybe the most recent one, you can maybe argue Home Depot, although really not super. I mean, they are kind of international, but not
Delta.
Yeah, Delta, Chick-fil-A, and CNN.
And Waffle House.
But right. But like, again, no real actual big, but like the investors don't know what they're missing, because like in Silicon Valley, why you have so many investors willing to take those, we don't want to miss the next Apple, the next Google, the next NVIDIA, but we have none of those examples.
Atlanta has potential too. That's the part.
And that's the thing. But there's also more of a conservative mindset, like we were talking about. Not everyone thinks in the way that, you know, we do. And it's like, hey, we're going to go pave our own way. And like, hey, we're going to be ostracized for, you know, a good part of that. But to me, like, I fail in what we do, like, more tangibly speaking, to help Atlanta and build up this region as a tech powerhouse. If I can't do what Henry Ford did for the automotive industry in Detroit, for us to do the same thing in Atlanta for the drone industry, I failed.
You need to. Like, what could be something that could definitely help streamline your production?
Really? So, like, actually, a guy that's helping us. Have you ever heard of the company Anduril? They are a government contracting company. They make like missile defense systems. They now make missiles as well. They make like larger scale military drones, and they were actually founded by a guy that started Oculus, the VR headset company. Okay. He sold that to Facebook, and then he wanted to like prove that he wasn't just like a one-trick pony, you know, so to speak. And so he started this company, Anduril. And there's a guy that he started a company out of Georgia Tech, actually a vending machine hardware and software company. So they raised money to make this device that you can plug into a vending machine, has Bluetooth, and then they already had a application for like iPads that would sync all the vending machine inventory data with their iPad app. So not like a huge, like, but fairly successful, raised money, you know, was able to exit, you know, whatever. And now he's working at Anduril as the director of business development. And so he's helping me, one, you know, in the same way you did, you know, starting out at Best Buy, from like a leadership, personal development perspective, also helping from a fundraising perspective. And he may be able to help us out there. That's personally. Cool. But he was literally just talking last night, what's our production bottleneck? And then two, what's our revenue bottleneck outside of, you know, just strictly speaking production. And the reality is, I do a lot of our production right now, almost all of it. That hasn't always been the case, but it's Brian and I that are full-time. And then we have another team of like 20 to 30 people that are part-time, working nights and weekends, you know, to varying degrees. But it's like, we can't rely on them to actually produce units that are going out to customers, right? Yep. They do great work to actually like design and develop the product that then I can produce it. But then, you know, we don't really have the means to even hire a couple of, you know, full-time, you know, production people. And also it's like the chicken and the egg. Do we like ramp up and, start spending money on ramping up our production capabilities when we don't have these orders for dozens or hundreds of units, but then we won't get those if we don't have that manufacturing. So I had reached out to our investor, actually connected them with that customer or potential customer at Sonoran Desert Institute. They will be talking next week, and fingers crossed they will be able to see, all right, we are in a prime spot. Like we have, I think, if not by the end of this year, just like after the new year, we will have only had $1 million to ever work with from like the revenue that we've generated, which is like, call it since we started about $715,000, something like that. And then we've raised $270,000 of like investor capital. So we're like just shy of ever having $1 million period to ever work with. And we're competing in America with companies that are like $20 billion in size.
It's not bad though.
Yeah, but it's also a sad state of like the industry here in America, right? That we're, a by and large part-time team, not even having $1 million to ever work with. And we have the best of what America is able to offer at this sort of like consumer, commercial, educational level. That's sad.
That is because there should be more people invested and wanted to see,
China
like
not become the world power.
Yeah, like be able to get all these opportunities that we're leaving on the table.
Yeah.
And that's crazy because that's one of the things that I know that a lot of people don't like it, but that's one of the things that Trump's is pushing for,
Ripping
more
off the
United
Band-Aid.
States stuff, like stuff that we make here in America, stuff that we need. Like some people frowned upon him forcing Ford to bring their plants back to America. Like it's an American car. Like why not make it in America? You know?
That's crazy. Like so many people were like flabbergasted. I told that, hey, do you know where the Lincoln Nautilus is? And it's the best car that Lincoln was making. China.
What? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So like literally the arguable like top American manufacturer making their top, like luxury vehicles or like one of their highest rated.
Because that's their Lexus.
It's not like their Expedition, like their biggest, luxury vehicle, but it was like the highest quality luxury vehicle they made in China.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's like, that's where I am, of course, very interested in bringing the drone industry here. But you look at these electric motors. I reached out to a company based out of Raleigh, North Carolina. They make electric motors for drones specifically for government contracts.
That's pretty cool.
Where in China, like these motors are made in China at the scales of hundreds of thousands or millions of units, right?
Yeah.
No one in America is able to make brushless motors at that sort of scale, or no one is set up to. And so that doesn't even just affect drones, but electric vehicles, right? Electric cars. We're not making those sort of motors here either. I think Tesla may have started, but literally just for their one company, their one product line, right? And so these land in our office. We'll buy 20, 30, 40 at a time, maybe. I think the most we've ever bought at a time is like 80. But $5.50 per motor is what it costs for them to like land here in our office. Talk to the company out of Raleigh, North Carolina. One, they wouldn't be able to make them at the scale, that would really make sense to drive down the cost. So at the scale that they could, which is in like the hundreds, low thousands, we would be looking at the lowest possible price they would be able to make them for, and then they'll still have to charge a markup, was like just shy of $100, if not even more than $100, where these also made in China, but it's an American company that gets them manufactured in China, $95 a motor, and those would have been like $500-$600+ per motor to get manufactured here. And then again, given that price can come down over time with like volume or economies of scale.
Yes, sir.
But we shipped off all of our like high volume manufacturing to China, other than like Boeing, and like our airplane manufacturing, given that's not really high volume. But we even had problems with that just because we've totally like we were talking about earlier, not just in this area, but the United States by and large is like, oh yeah, we're too good to work with our hands. We'll just send that over to the slave laborers over in China, and you know, we can't compete with them. And it's like, well, it's not that easy, especially nowadays. It's not even just a labor savings. It's like they just have the capabilities and the infrastructure that we don't have anymore, right? And so I think
it's stuff that we need too,
right?
We need to keep.
And to your point about Donald Trump, I look at it. He ripped off the Band-Aid that no president before him was willing to rip off, because it's going to suck for the consumer to buy these sort of like what are luxury goods in reality that we've just gotten used to as like being what is expected as an American citizen, right? And it's like, of course, we want a higher standard of living than anywhere else in the world, but we've already been losing that, and we're quickly going to lose it if we didn't rip off that Band-Aid. And we're not and not that we have to manufacture everything. We have to have the capability to manufacture.
And plus, if we give them everything, we're also giving them control.
Right. And that we've already started seeing that, like even with Apple, right? One of the greatest, most powerful companies of all time, you know, arguably speaking. And when they came out with Apple TV, started creating their own original content, because they're so reliant on China for manufacturing, they had to get all their content approved by the Chinese government, right? And so if you can't talk shit about the CCP, you know, in any Apple TV content, right?
Really?
Yeah. And so it's like there is a very like tangible effect that we're already starting to see beyond just like, hey, you know, if we were to get into war with China or they were to invade Taiwan, what, we're going to use Chinese drones against China? That sounds like a really great strategy, right?
Yeah. No, that would not work, because we don't know.
They
we
could
don't know.
Maybe shut them off, or just take all the information from them.
Yeah.
And people will say, oh, well, Apple can still sell phones and those are made in China. And it's like, you know, ideally that wouldn't happen, but it's like we did already shut down the Chinese phone manufacturers from being able to sell here. And it's not even so much from like, hey, they're actively hacking into like the devices or extracting data from, you know, devices, but it's just they, at least by law, don't have a warrant system. They don't have a subpoena system. It's like if the Chinese government goes to a company, give us all of your information.
They got to.
Yeah, or else we're going to literally lock you up. You know, look at Jack Ma from Alibaba. You know, he was talking about how great China was becoming with their capitalistic boom that they were seeing, and then he kind of got too far ahead of himself and disappeared from the public eye for years and was re-educated by the Chinese government, and then had to, you know, was forcibly removed from Alibaba. And it's like, you know, we take that for granted here, where maybe some companies maybe are a little too friendly with the U.S. government, like, you know, Meta, for example, at the very least during Joe Biden's administration, they literally had a back door for the FBI and CIA to go in and censor content, you know, just directly, you know? And so it's like, we do have the warrant subpoena process. Is it always followed? No, but at least there's like a guise of, you know, separation between our corporations and the government, where there's there's no playing pretend. I mean, you can, but you know, So I don't know. Anything else that you want to cover? I mean, I could continue droning on.
You know, now you got to bring me back now.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to teach me how to fly one for real. I've never flown a drone, so you're gonna have to teach me one of these days.
Bring up the kids, and hell, even I don't know, this weekend or next weekend or whatever, sometime here in the holiday season.
We'll see. Whenever y'all got time, you let me know, bro. I'll be staying. I'll be going to Mississippi Monday, Tuesday.
Okay.
I'm coming back Tuesday. You know, holidays, and then I got nothing else to do. So if y'all got time, we can always do it, man.
What's Christmas? Is this upcoming Thursday or is it Friday?
Thursday, I think. Yeah, Thursday.
I mean, Friday or Saturday after Christmas, both work. Cool. I'll reach out to you.
Let me know, and we'll do it, bro. Man, the kids will love it, bro.
Yeah.
Even if it's just to let them see it, bro. Yeah. Like, I love, because
we'll hand them over the controller. We have yet to do flying with our new software using the Legion.
That's
we'll hand them over to the Legion. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Hey, Make it work, man. I really, really like. I know that, like I said it, man. It might sound repetitive, but it's the honest truth. You know me very well, and one of the things is, man, that when I've always told you, I've always been straight with you about everything, man. And I know sometimes it might have come off a little bit like everybody always makes fun of me that I got a little ghetto side, but it might come off. I might not say it like it's meant to be said, but I mean it, what I say, like, I'm really proud of y'all, man. Like, it might not be nothing from somebody like me, but
it means everything
like,
from you.
From me, from my point of view, seeing you and Brian from when y'all first came out of my house when we did the video with the
Love knows no boundaries.
Yeah, I know. I still got that. Bro, I have that video saved. And I'm like, it gets me thinking, like, y'all went from doing little videos to this, like I remember when you told me, hey man, I'm stepping away from doing my flyer, like to fly, because I'm gonna step into the drone world. And I was like, I'll be honest with you, because I don't know anything about this, like I didn't grow up
who
knowing
the hell wants a drone?
like in my mindset I'm like, because they seem so, at that point they were also highly unaffordable, like or
they were
very
gimmicky.
Yeah, it was very limited to what you can use to be able to function one with, And now it's like the way that you're setting it up and the way that y'all like being able to use it on the remote control of my kid's PS5.
Yeah, PS5, Nintendo Switch.
That's cool, bro. Like that's awesome. It's like it's more accessible now.
Yeah.
Like and you're getting where you want to, which is being able to get one in every household.
Dude, one real like holy shit, like this is like undeniable tangible progress towards the everyday drone, the drone for the everyday household, everyday business. We got a job a little over a year ago after we got connected to this guy hosting a charity golf tournament, and he wanted to have golf balls dropped over one of the putting greens.
That's pretty cool.
And like each of the golf balls were numbered like for a raffle prize, right? So the golf ball that lands in the hole or closest to the hole was the winner of the prize. So each person had a ticket or tickets with a number that corresponded with one of the golf balls, right? So we did that just for free to like prove it out that we could build that payload, attach it to our drone, and actually complete the mission. And then we had to use both that Q ground control software I showed you on my phone to like take off the drone, and then had to close that. I was running it on my laptop, close out of that program, open up that other program I showed you called Mission Planner. That's even more difficult to use, but we were able to complete that mission. And then fast forward a few months, we got a paying opportunity to do one of those jobs. And by that point, we had come out with our own drone control software, and we were able to literally use our own software, our own drone, get paid for a mission that you couldn't really do with any other drone unless you built it custom yourself, technically savvy enough to use those open source programs, where I was literally able to just tell the drone to take off to whatever altitude, like just
that's pretty cool.
And then literally just hit the release button
instead of going like
and waiting a minute between the two programs to like switch over, connect, and then it was like holy shit. Not only did we do this with our own drone and our own software, we did this easier than what it's possible to do with anything else out there. And
big brain.
Dude, I literally and I was late to actually fly up to North Dakota for a drone conference up there, but I called our lead software developer, where typically it's like, hey, Mohit, there's a problem. I was like, Mohit, thank you. Like, it was just like such a great moment,
bro. It's growth, bro. Like growth. Like, I do want y'all to know this, like, because even I have those moments, that I feel like I hit that stopping point, like, don't give up, man. Yeah. Don't give up, bro. Just remember where you at right now to where you started 10 years ago. Yeah. Because 10 years ago, this was just a vision, bro.
Yeah. And literally. So
it was a vision. Trust me. Because this is when I bought my house 10 years ago.
Yeah. October 2016 was when I first came up with the name Drone's Eye View. And
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And y'all shot a video like literally probably like within like a couple weeks to a month.
Yeah.
When you decided that y'all were gonna make Drone's Eye View.
Yeah.
And it's now look at it, bro. Like it's here, bro. So don't ever, like, if y'all got a moment that y'all just like, like y'all crashing out about everything. New words, right?
Dude, I use that in one of our test flight video tiles because we have a lot of like Gen Z, and I'm technically Gen Z. But I always make fun of them. I always like, oh, you're cooking out,
like,
where are we cooking out? But yeah, it's crashing out.
Yeah, like that's what I like. I'm trying new verbiage, right?
Yeah.
So it's like whenever y'all got a moment that just think about it. Like, hey, I came a long way from this, man. Like, hey, how about instead of me getting pissed off, let me go outside. I don't know what you do. Go outside, smoke a blunt or whatever y'all do, and just be like,
we're 21st century. We do the e-vapes.
Okay, well, yeah,
hypothetically.
hit your e-vape and just be like, hey, man.
We suck robot dicks around here.
And just be like, you know what? All right, let me look at it from a different point of view. Because, hey, man, y'all came a long way, man.
Yeah,
I really did.
I appreciate that because it is like at some points I've heard from like some of our, it's like, because I know where I want to be with like the everyday easy to use drone that we've been working towards for the better, like actively working towards with development for the better part of 4, if not 5 years now. And then it's like, then even passenger drones and then other like drone and robotic products is like, it's like, we're still at like, not even step 1, and so it is like, but at the end of the day, it is still very tangibly different than, 10 years ago for sure, or even like a year ago, like look back and it's like, holy cow. Yeah.
Don't forget also, you also got to try to do the research. So that means that you have to live your life to be able to figure out what an everyday average Joe needs at home,
Yeah. And, so many people, will like, oh, what, you need to go talk to more customers to figure out what they want. It's like, I am the customer.
Yeah, you are.
Like,
you know what you want. That's what I'm saying. Like, don't forget to live it because if you just go and asking everybody's gonna have a different opinion of what they need it for, bro. You know what I'm saying? But you living your life and being like, for example, you're like, damn, I wish my drone could have went to go pick up this Red Bull for me. I say Red Bull because I drink a lot of Red Bull, and there is moments when I don't want to drive to the gas station. Even when I'm just sitting at home watching a show or something, or I just tell Bradley or James to run over there to go get it for me, So, like, something like this, like, when they're not home, I could just be like, go pick up this Red Bull real quick. I'm going to jump in the shower real quick. Go be here by the time I'm here. Yeah. Without having to go through DoorDash, without having to go through Uber.
Pay a delivery fee.
Where they overcharge you when I have my own drone, that I can have my own software for it, and it's already set up to what I needed to do. And
that's the thing, looking at it from the perspective of me being the customer, you'll especially get a lot of investors over the last like handful of years, decade or so. Software as a service has become so popular. It's like, how can you charge every month for, the software program? And it's like, oh, well, if you sell the drones, can't you sell your software? And it's like, let me ask you in this way. If, you buy an iPhone, but you also have to spend $20 a month just to use the iOS software on it. Would you still buy an iPhone? And it becomes a lot less of a
for example, I got Blink for my cameras at home.
Yep.
I bought the camera, spent like $500 on all these cameras, and I still have to pay $20 a month to be able to watch my cameras.
And that's I hate that as a customer.
It sucks. But if you like y'all having y'all technology and making it like being able to have it set up how you want it to, bro.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Our software will always be free to go with the drone because that's like the drone. If you just make it modular by itself, then you still have to do a lot of like setup or configuration work. Like I like to use the example of like a computer, right? You can just plug in a controller like this to your computer automatically recognizes it, a webcam, a solid state drive, right? But if we don't have the software to do that for free, then our drone will never actually be easy enough to use for the everyday person where they could use it for any multitude of
It's crazy you said that because
applications.
Yesterday Bradley and I were just talking about a game, and I know it sounds crazy because a video game, right? We were talking about EA Sports, how every year in order to be able to get certain updates, you have to buy the game.
Yep.
When you have something like GTA, where they give you the updates to hold you up until the next game. Literally, they're like they keep giving you updates up to when the next one comes out. But that's cool, because you're like, I'll just keep updating. And then when the new one comes out, you don't feel bad spending another $150 to buy this new game again,
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, now I got 10 more years of video games than this guy, you know? So, yeah, that's awesome, bro.
Yeah, I not even just from like the financial perspective, but I have gone through a lot of the technical learning curve that you have to go through to operate a drone like this, especially using but it's like literally because no one else is going to, if I don't, and because I am not the developer engineer, I'm more of the everyday person, as much as it may not seem like it, where especially if I go do like a demo or some sort of presentation, oftentimes people think like I'm the guy that did all the design, all the engineering, all the software development, just because I can speak about it, so passionately and to some degree of detail. Now, if you're super technical, like, I'm not going to try to bullshit you. I like to say I'm technical to non-technical people, but to like, technical to, marketing people, but non-technical to real technical
like
people.
To somebody that it's hands-on.
Like Gerardo, our electrical engineer, Dude, I'm always having like, for basic shit, like even a technician should not have to like, call and ask about. But as I was actually talking to Brian for how he packs up his camera bag, I don't remember like electronics. I remember people. Like that's what I care about at the end of the day, right? So like I'm not going to commit all like these wiring diagrams and whatever. And like I can remember the difference between power versus ground, black wire versus red. But that's like much beyond that. That's like quickly beyond my technical competency. And it's just like if we can make it easy enough for me to use or build or whatever, chances are
it'll
can
be
make
easier
it
for somebody like me, like hooking up a fan in the ceiling, it's just like that. It's red, white, and the ground.
Yeah. Green or black, depending on. But
heck yeah.
Well, John, dude, thank you for coming up to do this.
Thank you for letting me come in, man. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks
for
y'all.
watching.